All right, we should be live. Welcome to the live stream. It's me. It's birdie time. We're hanging out, having a good time, hopefully. And now I'm sending my sound out loud through my computer. Great. All right, got that fixed. Awesome. I am back. I am no longer in Michigan. Had a nice trip. It was a lot of fun, but I am back. And it's nice to be back. It's been a minute since I got set up here, though. Got to get everything situated. Get a little bit closer here. All right. What's up, everybody? How have you guys been? It's been a minute since we talked. Marley Mara says, hello, I'm from your last stream on Easter. Welcome back. Thanks for hopping on and joining again. How have you been in the last week? Hope you've been well. I've traveled back from Michigan and back to North Carolina. So I'm here. I'm back in my own space. Got my discs behind me, actually. Instead of just having like 5 or 10 discs on hand to show, I have my full collection back here. So that's nice. It was a busy couple of weeks for me in Michigan. I did enjoy my trip, of course, but I think I visited, including family in town and friends and other people that were out of town. I visited 21 people across Michigan. So I was this city, this town, hanging out with family, out to see a friend, meet somebody at a course to play around, meet somebody at another course, blah, 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 all over the place. It was worth it. It was awesome, but I'm a little tired out. So I don't know if I can go full on 4 hours tonight. It might be closer to 3, or maybe a little bit less. We'll see. But I'm pretty happy to be back. Happy to be back. Let's see. We got the poll going here. I threw in a couple of FPO players. I was pretty on the fence between Owen Scoggins and Paige Pierce because, to be totally fair to Paige, she's been the best up until the last couple of years where Kristen absolutely took over. And then at the same time, Owen is a very personable, involved, and likable person. She's always getting on coverage. She's always getting interviewed and stuff. So I was pretty torn between the classic Paige Pierce and the current Owen being really in the spotlight more the last couple of years. So I went with Owen because I felt like it. Holland Hanley with a couple early votes. She's been playing really well. Nagasi says hi, hello. Thanks for hopping on the stream and joining. Glad you're here. Marley likes radioactive cheese. All right, nice. Can't say that I've ever had radioactive cheese myself, but I have played Fallout 4, so I guess there wasn't really any cheese in Fallout 4. All the cheese is in Skyrim. I guess there's just pretty much dog food and a bunch of... I guess there's, well, yeah, it's not really cheese. Maybe Atomfall will have some cheese in it. I'll be playing that soon. School cheese. Where do you go to school? Simone says hi, hello. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Hope you guys had a great week and a great Easter last weekend. I had a nice time in that stream. The Easter stream was really, really great. And since then, I spent time with friends and family in Michigan, traveled all the way back down to North Carolina, where I am back home. It's nice to be back. It's nice to be in the actual space where I normally do my streaming and have my discs and setup and everything. So it's good to be back. And it is beautiful. The weather is incredible. I've been missing out a little bit. I know Michigan was great when I left, but it was windy and cold for most of the time I was there. And I came back to like 78 degrees Charlotte weather, and I am loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Marley says, all right, bye. I have to help my friend for the passport night project. All right. Thanks for hopping on and joining. I'll be here for a little while, so feel free to pop back on later, but of course, no pressure. Glad you were able to stop by a little bit. and hope the project goes well. Adam says, trying to learn forehand, any tips? So I'll be the first to admit it. Forehand, not my strong suit. One of the things that was very important for me that helps with the forehand is when you're throwing the forehand, you want to involve your well, if you're throwing right-handed, you want to involve your right leg, your right hip in generating power. So you don't just want to kind of have your legs set and then just throw. You don't just want to arm the disc and use only the power of your arm. As you use your arm to kind of swing through and generate that power, you want to pivot on your left foot and push. You want to swing through, following through with your right side, your right leg. And that will help you generate power. That will help lessen the impact that a forehand has on your back, on your side, of kind of absorbing the momentum of your body as you throw. Let's see. Other than that, honestly, my forehand it's just not good enough for me to feel like I'm in a position to give great forehand advice. I think Tristan Tanner has some good forehand videos. I've been trying to watch some slow motion throws from Gannon Burr, from Anthony Barella, and try to mimic their forehand. Paul McBeth has a pretty good forehand video too. He does a good job of breaking down his steps, his kind of timing with it, at what point he lifts up his arm and when he swings through, how he throws it. Yeah, so I hope that helps a tiny bit. I know that it's not really great instruction. It just so happens that my forehand, it's a pretty weak part of my game. I do have a decent upshot for like a standstill forehand throw, but when I go to get power off the tee pad, it's not pretty. It's very inconsistent. Harper says Indiana or Milwaukee. I don't know. AQ says, can you show me how you hold your putter? Absolutely. So for me, I am a push putter. I have a push putting style. So the way that I hold my putter, I have my fingers supporting from underneath, and I don't fully get my index finger on the rim. I have it a little bit, not fully on the side either, but kind of in between in this space here. And for me, the way that I putt, I kind of come down and then kind of pop up and open up my hand. So the angle's a little bit weird with the camera here, but as it comes up, I kind of pop the putter out of my hand like this. So as it comes out of my hand, it's usually pretty flat, popping up. So that's my putting style, which for me, it's a lot of accuracy left and right, but a struggle with height. So a lot of times I'll hit the basket and drop straight down, or maybe hit the band. But more rare is a right or left miss, where I actually just airball it to the sides. If you're a spin putter, then you'll probably want to get that index finger hooked under the rim, because as you're coming through the spin putt, this putter is going to be leaving your hand. You don't want that finger in the way. That'll be in the way as the disc is trying to get out of your hand. But if you have it underneath the rim, the disc is able to actually leave your hand clean. So spin putting, it's pretty essential, I think, to get that finger under the rim. But if you're push putting like me, then you can get away with it drifting a little bit up on the side, but you still want some support there. So that's for me. But again, that's for my push putting style. And so it just kind of depends on what you're doing. When I'm doing like a straddle putt, I'll get my finger even a little bit further toward the edge, because I don't know, for me, the way that it leaves the hand, I don't know, it changes a little bit, just a little bit for my stance. No Sense says hi from Italy. Awesome. Hi from North Carolina in the United States. Bryant says, what's your grip for forehand? I'm a pretty decent forehand player. So that's good help. So who was that asked? So Adam, Bryant is much better at forehand than I am. I've seen it in person. So he might be able to give you a couple little tips. Alan says, hi, thanks for hopping on. Adam says, thanks for the tip. Forehands keep going hard left into the dirt. Yeah, it's a struggle that I've had as well, for sure. So yeah, Bryant will be better at giving advice for that. Absolutely. Bedtime Awake says, no one can beat me. Let's see. Zemhire says hi. Chat Noir says I love this. Appreciate it. Hope you're talking about the discs back here. Disc golf, very fun sport. Viniac says very talented. Credit goes to hard work and dedication. I think that hard work and dedication does pay off. Bedtime says, what is the meaning of putter and what kind of sport? So this is a putter with a U, putter. And disc golf is borrowing some of the terms of golf. So a driver, a mid-range, a putter are three different types of disc. So we'll have a driver that has a more sharp, not sharp, but tapered rim to it that's designed to go further and faster than a frisbee. Then we have, nope. Then we have, I got this. Well, mid-ranges, which often have a little bit of that angle, but not as much as a driver does, just like that. And then we progress to a putter, which is much more rounded. So a putter is for getting it into or up to the basket from up close, or for hitting certain type of controlled shots. A mid-range is for some control, but some distance at the same time. And drivers are meant to go pretty far. So usually you're trying to get a lot of distance off the tee with a driver, depending on how far the hole is. So yeah, and long story short, for disc golf, you want to get it into the basket in as few throws as possible. Daniel says, hi, how are you? From Brazil, of course. Thanks for hopping on again, Daniel. Good to see you a couple weeks in a row. And Jackson says, hi from Ohio. Matthew says, hi from North Korea. Glad you managed to get internet. Alvin says, I don't know if that's English, so I'm just going to skip on past. Rubit says, do you fly? In general, no. As a superpower, no, I don't. And if I'm traveling across the country, I usually will drive. For instance, I just went from Charlotte to Michigan to visit friends and family, and I drove 11 hours there and 11 hours back. Not in the same day. Mr. 88 says, I want to beat you. Meet me in Elkhart, Indiana. We have a park. That sounds fun, man. I wish I could. I just got back to Charlotte. But yeah, I'm trying to think if I've played Indiana. I've played a couple Illinois courses and several Michigan, of course. I'm not sure if I've actually played one in Indiana yet or not, but I'm sure Elkhart would be the place to play. Cran says, just bought a new mid-range driver this weekend. Stoked to use it. Heck yeah. Do you know what the disc is called? I might have one myself. Just depends. Okay. Got those. Got to keep them in their place. XF says, if I were him, I'd be ashamed. I was this proud of frisbee. Technically, this is not frisbee. So this is an ultimate frisbee. And this is a putter disc. So disc golf discs are quite different from chunky frisbees. I did play ultimate frisbee in college on our club team and intramural team, but disc golf is quite different. And I've been competing in tournaments for several years, and I've turned down cash prizes to keep my amateur status in the last couple of months because there are a couple of amateur majors that I'm going to be traveling to play. And after that, sometime around November, I'll be switching fully into the professional division and start accepting cash prizes. But you're not allowed to accept a cash prize and maintain your amateur status at the same time. So I'm holding on to amateur status for just a little while longer. Via says, this is interesting. You're great. Have a great day. Hope you have a little wonderful chaos. And I think you're awesome. Thanks for dropping on and chatting. Appreciate you being here for a little bit. Johnny West said, Broccoli says, you guys are weird today. Luke says, no wonder you haven't seen my texture live. That's correct. Luke was telling me about a disc golf tournament that he was playing that he took, what, second place out of 30? It's Violet says, love your hair. Thank you. I'm going to get it cut, so don't get too attached to it. But beard is here to stay. Haircut, it's going to be a little bit shorter. Brent's got to charge his phone. He'll be back in a little bit. Brent's phone has been dying all weekend. I would know because I was there helping Brent move for a couple of days, yesterday and the day before, and his phone was somehow always at 1%. It was perpetually dying at just the entire day. I don't know how. I don't know why. I should have brought him a charger. That's on me. Mehmet says hello from Turkey. Erwin says, hey, Chuck Norris. LOL, what's up? Chuck Norris Jr. Or Norris Chuck, the opposite of Chuck Norris, where I'm bad at everything. Mr. Idiot says they built one last year. Nice. Heck yeah. Jackson says, have you played a course in Ohio? I don't think that I've played any courses in Ohio. I have, of course, played Michigan. Let's see. North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Massachusetts, Illinois. I think that's it. I don't think I've played in any other states yet. Hopefully soon. Maybe I have. I'm trying to think. I know I'm missing South Carolina. South Carolina. Yeah. So maybe I'm missing one or two, but I will have to play some in Ohio sometime. Daniel says, you have any news to share about your trip? One of the bigger elements of, it wasn't directly related to my trip, but from the last couple of weeks, is I signed up for the U.S. Amateurs Major that's going to be back in Michigan. So I'll be going back and I'll be playing at the Toboggan course where they play DGLO. So the Great Lakes Open, I'm going to be playing that course. So it's basically ski slopes that in the winter you go sledding down. In the summer, you throw down and back up and down and back up. So it's going to be some brutal elevation change. The woods are very thick and the brush is really thorny and tough. So it's going to be quite an experience to play that course. It's a pro tour level course. So it's going to be a fully challenging experience. So I'm looking forward to that, but it's going to be tough. Other news, I talked about it last week, but I got a tree kick ace, which was super cool. The only one I've ever gotten. And I got it on film because my friend Eddie pulled out his camera and said, hey, let me film this just in case you ace. And then I ace. So it was really, really cool. It was a fun moment. Nikolai says the Frisbee channel. We got our Frisbees and we got our disc golf discs. So they're definitely a little bit different, but discs are also called Frisbees, kind of a colloquial term as well. So fair enough. Shannon says, hey, thanks for hopping on and joining. Appreciate you being here. Eric says, my brother tied for 6th at the Climo Discs launch party supported by Sun King and Pure Line at Floral City today with a 7-down round. Heck yeah. Was it Floral City Park or was it a different course in Floral City? Because I have played Floral City Park. And I do like that course. Krantz says, Innova Halo Star is the name of the disc I bought. Have you used it? So I don't know this. Is it a Starfire or just a star? I don't think I've just thrown a star. I think I've thrown a Starfire. I don't think I've just thrown a star. Let me see. Of course, there's the Star Plastic. Innova Halo Star. I don't think I have. I don't think I have. Maybe I should give it a shot. Nikolai says, does an aerobie count as a Frisbee or a disc? That is a great question. I think the aerobie Epic is a PDGA approved disc. But let me see. So with the hole in the center, those are not approved. I believe the aerobie discs have several flying discs that are not PDGA legal for sanctioned events for tournament play, but they do have a disc or two that are legal by PDGA standards. So I believe the aerobie Epic is the only one that I know of that is legal. Yeah. And that's a wonky shaped. I wish I had one because they're so cool. The rim is a different distance depending on what part of the disc it is. So I don't know whose phone number this is. Don't call them. So on one side the rim will be wider, and the other side will be really thin. So depending on where you're like gripping it, the rim width is different, and they fly really funny. But those are PDJ legal, but there are a couple of other Arobi discs that are not. And congrats, Eric, to your brother. 6 is great, and I'm sure there are a lot of people for that Climo launch party. I probably would have tried to make it if I was still down in Florida. Marcel says, okay, I know, dumb question, but wasn't that a game you could also play in Wii Sport Resort? Is that the same thing? I do believe that the Wii Sport had a disc golf game in it. So I don't know if they were super accurate about everything. They probably were, because they tried to be, as far as you can with a Wii. But yes, I think that it's the same thing. And we're due for another disc golf video game. They're going to be making one, and it's going to be it looks rough around the edges right now, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the physics-based disc gameplay, and I'm looking forward to playing it. Sir David says, my scholar. Luke says, hey Brad, want a caddy? Always. And if it's a caddy for the toboggan, then I will be handing you my phone and saying, please film everything. I want to put this on the YouTube channel. So I'm really excited to be playing the course. It's not a course that's open year-round, and it's not a course that's set up for very long. It's only set up for a couple of weeks between U.S. amateurs and then the Pro Tour coming by. So it's kind of like a rare course to be able to play and compete at and film at. So I'm very excited to play it, and I really want to catch everything on camera that I can while I'm there, including the fails, because I absolutely guarantee you that I will catch a horrible shot on camera during that weekend. 100%. Riley says, hi, hello, thanks for hopping on and joining the stream. Daniel says, love it, so cool. Jackson says, is it frisbee or disc golf? So technically, the term is disc golf, but a disc is kind of classified as a frisbee in general under the umbrella term, but it is more specific than a frisbee. So a frisbee is kind of like a general term for flying discs, but a disc golf disc is kind of a subclass of specific measurements. There are limits to what a disc golf disc can be and still be considered a disc, and legally used in PDGA tournaments. So there are kind of standards for disc golf, and it is called disc golf as a sport is the title of the sport. But calling it frisbee, some people get a little bit annoyed by it, but at the same time, it's still a frisbee type sport. So fair enough. Riley says, I like the room. I appreciate this shelving unit was made by my father-in-law for holding disc golf discs. So you can repurpose some to kind of accommodate discs, but this was built for my disc golf collection. So I'm very, very happy with it, and I'm glad that I have it. It is huge, and I have another less cool one off camera that my brother gave to me. Super grateful for. Now that I called it less cool, awesome. But it has a bunch of my putters and stuff over here. Red Knight says disc golf is boring. Not for everybody, but it's certainly interesting for me. And here's my personal story. I grew up playing frisbee, tossing around with my family. Loved it. Played a little ultimate frisbee. Tried disc golf, and I absolutely hated it. Then, 8-9 years later, my brother taught me how to grip a disc, which is like, instead of throwing it how I was with frisbee, you hook your finger underneath so that it really snaps out of your hand. I threw a disc twice as far as I'd ever thrown a frisbee, and I was absolutely hooked, and I never looked back. So to me, disc golf is fantastic. It's a ton of fun, but of course, not everybody is going to like every sport. Daniel says, I have a personal question to ask. Go for it. As long as it's not way too personal, I'll answer it. TP says, please can you shout out my name? Thanks for joining us and hopping on. Appreciate you being here, TP. Awakan says, where are you from? Ed Sheeran. No musical talent. Well, I have very little musical ability. It'd be cool if I was related to Ed, but he doesn't know who I am. Crane says Halo Star. Man, I haven't thrown the Halo Star. That's interesting. Red Knight says, how much to shave the beard? Great question. I think I'd do it for $350. I think I'd shave the beard. Yeah. The beard's here to stay unless I have a highly motivating reason to shave it. Tushar says, what is disc golf? It plays by the rules of golf in general. The idea is you start from a throwing area and you want to make it to your target, to a basket, in as few throws as possible. Generally, you're going to have trees as obstacles. Maybe you're going to throw across some water or have some out of bounds areas. Like in golf, you'll have the fairway and then the rough, and then you'll have the putting green as well. For disc golf, the putting green is just kind of like 10 meters, 33 feet around the basket from each side. And you'll want to get par or better if you can. And then, of course, whatever your score is at the end of the round, you'll either be competing against yourself or a course record, or you'll be competing against other people playing the course at the same time. So I play in a lot of tournaments, and a lot of tournaments will get 72 people playing a course at the same time. So 4 people per hole, and kind of rotating through the course till we all get all of the holes played. And then the person who has the best score will win. And sometimes you'll have prizes for the top 5 or top 40%, stuff like that, of the field. Eric says Floral Park. Okay, nice. So I'm not certain. I think I've played Floral Park, but I'm 90% sure, but I'm not 100%. Salmon says the Trash Panda made one, the ET2. The ET1 and the ET2. I haven't thrown either of those, but I am interested in what Trash Panda's been working on. They've been making some interesting stuff. A comment says, you breathe oxygen or nitrogen? Both, because they are in the air and my body filters out what it needs, turns it into carbon dioxide, and breathes it back out again. I believe the air is made up of oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen. We're going to see if I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I remember high school. Oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen. All 3. I think the air is like around 20% oxygen. Now, I'm going to give up. I'm not going to try to remember statistics. Jackson says, okay, out of subject question, but what is your go-to song? Mine is Ride the Lightning by Metallica. Nice. Go-to song, depends on the day. My college buddies and I listen to Wake Me Up by Avicii a lot on a trip that we took. So that's kind of like, the summer song of like, I'm in the car, just hanging out, having a blast. That's kind of the one that I might be playing. Yeah, that's one of them. Solid Ground by Cascade is one that I like. I played a lot of Rocket League, so that's one of my favorites. Anything by Hawk Nelson, a lot of Stellar Cart. Yeah, it just kind of depends, but there's a lot of great songs out there. Salmon says Frisbee is a TM. Soggy Chip says wave hello. Hello. Jackson says nerd. Yeah, I was the team captain of our high school quiz team. So yeah, we wore sweater vests on TV. Dirk, I can't read that name. Dirk says, hi bro, how are you? I'm doing good. I'm having a good time. I came back from a trip to visit friends and family last week, and although I kind of am still busy, it's been nice to get back home and kind of be in my own space, back with my discs and my local disc golf courses. Caden says, what's up? Just hanging out. Papa John, thanks for hopping on. NA, ever throw a Sidewinder? Absolutely love them. Sidewinder was my first driver. So I started out on the Sidewinder. It was the first disc that my brother showed me how to throw. I threw it correctly to an extent and said, wow, I love this. I'm going to play this all the time. So my Sidewinder, it's pretty, I'll find it. A Sidewinder is now my retired professional player signature disc. So this is my MPO signature disc. I need to restart my FPO disc because I lost it. But at least still have my MPO disc, which has more signatures on it. Sidewinder is fantastic. I think mine was G-Star plastic. Excuse me. So I love it. It's fantastic. Riley says yes. Daniel says, are you interested in anyone recently? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Ed Sheeran. I'm mostly interested in Calvin Heimberg playing disc golf this year and taking out a major, or maybe Gannon Burr winning. No, I'm pretty focused on disc golf and everything that I can do with YouTube and everything right now. So, single-minded. You guys are too much. All right, too much. Brian, why do we buy so many discs even though we keep the same 20 to 24 discs in the bag? Fantastic question. Fantastic question. So I know why I have the spinny discs, because I can't let things go. Once I have something, I have this innate desire to keep it just in case. So I have trouble saying goodbye. Even to a disc, I have trouble saying see you later. So yeah, but also I want to have everything on hand, not just in case I can use it, but in case somebody else can benefit from it. And then once I started doing some YouTube stuff, I was like, I need to have a bunch of discs behind me at all times so that I look legit. I don't know if it's working or not. Also, I do cycle through my bag pretty regularly. So it's even I did an in the bag video in January, and I think I've already swapped out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 discs out of my 22. So it's not that high percentage, but by the end of the year, my bag is halfway different. So I kind of swing through and make some changes here and there. But it is kind of funny that like I bag 10% of the discs that I own. And it says, that's dope. Thanks for sharing the Sidewinder. Yeah, such a good disc, such a fantastic flyer. And when you start out, it's one of the drivers that can fly far. And once you kind of start getting good, it'll still fly well, but eventually it might be too flippy. But for a long time, it's very useful. I could probably get a higher, a premium plastic that's not as beat in and still use a Sidewinder. But the specific one that I kind of started getting good to an extent in the sport, it's too much. It's too flippy for me. D-Back says, are those frisbees? Warnor says, are those vinyls? We don't usually get vinyls. We usually get plates. These are not vinyls. These are disc golf discs. And I just missed it. All right. Ooh, I got an insanity. So similar to frisbees, but different. So this is an ultimate frisbee here, and this is a disc golf disc. So as you can see, they're shaped differently, and a frisbee is really designed for throwing and catching versus a disc, which is not designed to be caught. You don't want this thing hitting your hand or your head at 70 miles per hour. It hurts. I haven't been hit at a high speed, but people have gotten stitches. So you don't want to mess around with discs. But yeah, it is in a sense, they are kind of a frisbee adjacent thing, disc golf discs. But discs were developed to fly further and faster than frisbees, and certain disc parameters on shape and size determine whether or not your disc can legally be used in a professional disc golf association sanctioned event. Daniel says, I'm feeling bad for asking. Don't worry about it. No worries. Curiosity spoke louder. It's all good. It's all good. I understand. Grasshopper says, cap. Cap about what? Just in general? Okay. D-Beck said, this is wild. God bless. All right, I can't read. I don't understand you guys. You guys are all over the place tonight. Super says, Brent, don't ban me again, please. I like the stream. Uh, hey, you behave. And as far as to my knowledge, if you're following the rules, you're gonna be all right. Corky says, ever lost one in a tree? Yes. So normally you're able to kind of get discs back out of a tree, but I did lose one so far up in a tree that was completely unclimbable that I saw it because it was my home course. I saw it for 7 months straight. Every time I played, I looked up about 45 feet in the air, and there was my MVP Terra lodged in between two branches. And it only came down because we had Hurricane Milton come through, or maybe it was Helene, whatever one was first. Hurricane Helene, I think, came through Florida, and it finally got knocked out of the tree. I went out the next day, and it was gone. So I've not seen that Terra ever since. That's the only one that I've lost in a tree. Lakes are more common, especially Florida. You can't just go out in the water and hope to find your disc. So with Florida water, I steer clear. So I have lost a few discs in the water. I've lost a couple discs in the woods, but only one in a tree. Brent is back. All right. Phone is at 5%. Justin says, what's up? Hey, Justin, thanks for hopping on. And Justin, not the same Justin, says, hey, man. Good to have you guys here at the same time. Brent says, Brad is the GOAT. The greatest of all time, what? Because greatest of all time disc golfer is an absolute no. Greatest of all time, what? There's like no category that I'm the greatest at anything. Candle says, because if you haven't, don't lose a disc in a tree, I'm guessing. Yeah, it's no fun. It's no fun. Did you lose one in a tree? It is unfortunate. Daniel says, but I don't know if it convinced me much because sometimes it's good to blur. Did I miss something? Oh well, you're good. Justin made it into Junior Worlds this year. Love watching the content. Heck yeah, dude! Congrats. That's awesome. When is Junior Worlds? Is it in August, like Amateur Worlds, or is it a different time of the year? Heck yeah, dude. You will probably play with a couple of people as well that I know. Tony and Antonio, and now that I forgot Trevor's name, a couple of my friends that I played with a lot in Florida. I should say a couple of my friends' kids. They're about 15, 16, well, maybe, yeah, 14, 15, 16, that they're probably going to be competing in Junior Worlds as well. So you might run into them at some point. That's really awesome. Congrats on making this Junior Worlds. That's really, really, really cool. I'm going to put this back because I'm just kind of fidgeting with it. Pretty sure it got from there. Brent says, GOAT IRL friend after the last 2 days. That's probably the best argument for any type of GOAT status for me, because I helped Brent move, and yeah, you're welcome. It's a pain to move. If you have a lot of stuff, especially moving from a house to a house, you end up accumulating a lot, and you can't just move it all by yourself. So it was a good time. I'm tired, but it was good. We got everything moved. Super Slav said, I used to like disc golf also, then I turned 13. Man, that is the prime age to start. I didn't start till I was 26, and I wish that I actually played when I was 13, because I was a decent frisbee thrower and player, but I think that I was always okay at athlete. I was a decent athlete at athletics, but I think my strength is my mental game over my physical game. And so Ultimate Frisbee wasn't really about a mental game specifically, but disc golf is. And if I had been developing physically in disc golf for 10, 13 years more, man, oh, do I wish that I could see my potential at that point. Dude just says, hey, Ed Sheeran's back in NC. All right. Pinoid says, what's the promo code for the merch? So I don't have any merch yet, specifically, but I do have an active promo code, which I believe is just birdie, but it's BHIRDIE, and that is at foxflyersdiscgolf.com, which should get you free shipping on any purchases over $25. Justin says, can you show a signed disc if you have any? All right, so we've got ourselves this is my MPO signature disc. So this has Calvin Heimberg, Simon. Actually, I don't think I have Simon on this. I have Simon, but not on this. Calvin, Gannon, Cole Redolin, Isaac Robinson, Silas Schultz, a couple of the big names, Paul Macbeth. Got a lot of the big names on here. I have Anthony Barella's signature from his first Pro Tour win, which was the chess.com Open. And I bought the disc before he won so that he could sign it for winning. So I had faith in him, even though he and Ricky made it interesting coming down the stretch. And I got him, I was watching in person. So I got his signature live right after the tournament. I've got this is my problem. Sometimes I bag a disc that I have signed. So part of the signatures have been rubbing off on other discs, but I've got Paul Ulibarri and Brody Smith on this Raptor. I like their Tour Life podcast, so I got both of them to sign it. Simon Lizotte on a time lapse, of course. And I think I have a couple other signatures. I have Ellie Mittling signed Rogue. Yes, Rogue. Daniel says, I think it's cute that you read all the comments and pay attention to everyone. I do my best. I'm glad to kind of be able to do this. It's kind of a dream to an extent, so I'm happy. Happy to do it. It's fun. Blaze says, old. Fair enough. Hey, when Blaze met me, I didn't have the beard, so he thought that I was like 23. And then I grew the beard, and he's like, oh, you're like 30. 29. Justin says, I started disc golf at 5 years old. Holy. So if you've been playing from 5 to 12, man, you just need to keep it up. You'll be the next Gaten Burr, except I'm guessing shorter because he's 6'7". All right. I already need water. Dujit says, unfortunately, Wild Honey didn't come in. It's going to on Tuesday, it says. Awesome. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I will show, maybe I will. I'll show off my new Wild Honey now. Shout out to Eddie for giving this to me. He said, have you ever thrown Wild Honey? I said, no. So he said, go ahead and throw this. I threw it, a new distance record on flat ground, like just one throw. And he said, okay, that is yours now. So Wild Honey is in the bag, and it flies. It goes far. So great disc. Great disc. Dude just says, also, weekend C tier was rained out, so no rating for me yet. Oh, that's so unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Daniel says, if you shave your beard, there will be news that Daniel Mendonça killed Ed Sheeran. Dude just says, out of all the discs you get signed, you get a Sidewinder? Yeah, so it was my first disc. It was my first driver. So when I retired the Sidewinder, I actually had just gotten it signed by Garrett Gerthy because I ran into him at Northside Park, his home course and one of my home courses. So I ran into Garrett. I was like, you're Garrett Gerthy. I just saw you playing the Portland Open. And he's like, yeah. So I had him sign it because he was with Innova. And then I was like, I can't throw this anymore. So I retired it, and I decided it would be my pro signature disc. So that's why it is. Micah Turner says, hey, what's up? Thanks for hopping on and joining. Justin says, do you have Johnny McRae? So I got a lesson from Johnny McRae, and it is fading now because it's in the bag, but I have Johnny McRae's signature here, and it says practice making putts. So I had him, oh no, I just told you the opposite. Johnny McRae's signature and here it says practice making putts. So I got an hour lesson with Johnny. He was really awesome. He really helped me with follow through and removed some of my back pain that I've been having over a year ago. And since then, he has played in a couple of tournaments that I've played in, the Chainhawk Open, year after year in Florida. And I won an MA1 last year. And I was able to talk to him afterwards. I thanked him for his lesson. I told him that I've been pain free. I actually made a turbo putt in the tournament, and I thanked him for teaching me a couple of turbo putt tricks. And so it was really, really cool to kind of follow up in the last couple of years and say, hey, I've been playing well. Thank you for the lesson. Thank you for everything you've given me. So I had him sign this Keystone, and it's been in the bag the whole time. And it's been a great disc, but it is wearing out. I have put it through the ringer. It's hit a lot of trees. Judah says, lucky your parents knew what they were doing, Justin. Heck yeah. Judah says, didn't start till 13. 13, that is still young enough. You're good. You're good. You're going to trash. Looking to get 450 to 475 out of the Wild Honey. I 100% believe you will. I handed it to my buddy, Sam, and he just won through, no ground play, into a hillside 450. So it can go far. Just not for me. Not yet. Yeah, makes sense. Can't forget about your first disc. Of course not. Blaze says we all love a good sidewinder. Heck yeah. Dude just says, I think I want to function off of you, Blaze. I think that's what happened. I think I heard about that. Justin says, I can still only throw 450 max at 14. 450 max is great at 14. My new max distance is like 430s, 440. So no 450 even for what I've developed in the last couple of years of playing. Dude, only a year older and still get around 450. Noah says, do something cool. I don't have any talents. What am I supposed to do? This is gonna be really lame. All right, you're welcome. This is me being cool. That was a mistake. I absolutely blame you for that. All right, everything's fine. Rashid, can you send me $100, please? No, I don't have any money. Justin, I use the 2-finger grip permanently. So like a 2-finger power grip. Rich Guy says, roller. I don't personally throw many rollers. I do have a tumbleweed roller disc, thanks to Blaze, but not many rollers for me. A lot of air shots. Dude says, forehand, Justin. Blaze says, that is truth. Yep. 450 forehand is pretty dang good. Yeah. 450 backhand. Yeah, I haven't heard of the 2-finger grip specifically. I mean, everybody's got a little bit different. I've seen, the fan grip, 1 finger. I've seen the kind of 3-finger curl. I'm not sure if I've seen the 2-finger, but if it works, it works. I mean, I've had people tell me, Blaze tries to tell me that my grip holds me back, but it's not true. I don't have as much distance because of my form and timing. It's not my grip. And I will maintain that until I die. All right, let's check on the poll. And all right. So we have Holland Hanley solidly leading at 40%, depending on what people are voting as I'm talking. Kristen at 26. I'm wondering if Holland is surging because of how she's played lately. Because I would have thought Kristen would be leading the poll. So I'm very interested in this. I'm very, very, very interested. But of course, favorite doesn't mean who do I think is the best. So that's totally fair. Missy at 10%, Kristen at 27%, Own at 23%. So it looks like it was pretty good to include Own in the poll. I'm glad I did. I'm wondering if Paige maybe could have replaced Missy. Maybe. Rich Guy says, I love the bounty kind on the trees. I don't know what that means. QWERTY says, what kind of Caucasian are you? Part Polish, part Irish, part English. Nora says, hi, hello, thanks for hopping on again. B. Dalu says, are they frisbees or you just like colored plates for dinner? Great question. We got the plates question again. So these are disc golf discs. So unlike a frisbee, an ultimate frisbee, which is bigger, chunkier, made for throwing and catching, the disc golf disc is designed to fly further and faster. So all of these behind me are different disc golf discs, and what is this one? A Claymore is going to fly differently. Can't knock the link over. Claymore is going to fly differently than a pot. Oh, that's a Thunderbird. This is very important that I get this right. This is not a Thunderbird. A River. I forgot I had that River. A River is going to fly differently than a Buzz, which will fly differently than a Tursus, which will fly differently than a Bomba. So every disc has a slightly different flight path. Some of them are very different from each other. And with all of them put together, you can build out a bag to handle any situation that you run into on the disc golf course. B says, oh, cool, where can I buy one? If you're interested in actually trying to play, then I would suggest getting a starter set from Amazon. There are a couple of good, pretty cheap options. I like the R2 MVP or R2 Axiom starter sets. Excuse me. Because they actually give you good discs of good quality. But if you really just itching to play, you can go to any sporting goods store or Walmart, and you should be able to find a disc golf starter set. Innova and Discraft will probably have starter sets that you'll have there. The Innova starter set with a DX Leopard, Shark, and Aviar is like the most common starter set ever. And they're good discs. I just recommend some premium discs for your starter sets. So I'm gonna need more. I need more water. So yeah, that's where you can get some. Or if you're anywhere near Charlotte, then if you run into me on a disc golf course, I'll give you one. Doc says, love Missy, but Kristen is the beast. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's fair enough. But of course, you never know. Is someone else going to be the favorite, even though Kristen's the best? Because I like Kristen, but I like Owen as well. Owen is funny. She's funny. And her attitude is fantastic. And Holland, of course, is playing extremely well. She has a very good personality, a very good, I think, potential and mental game. Yeah, tough pull. Tough pull. Justin says we should play sometime together. Birdie, absolutely. If you find yourself near Charlotte, then leave a comment on one of my videos, and chances are we could get a round in somewhere. And Charlotte is kind of a disc golf destination, so not to say that everybody is going to just make their way to Charlotte, but the Pro Tour comes here at the end of the year every year for USDGC and the Pro Tour Series Championship. So disc golf comes to Charlotte, and Charlotte has some fantastic courses like Nevin and Hornets Nest and just dozens of other good ones. So if you ever find yourself traveling around North Carolina, disc golf in Charlotte is fantastic. Brian says, I understand that. LOL, I have a hard time letting go, and then I trade or sell, and I almost feel bad about getting rid of the discs, like they have feelings. LOL, I switched to Prodigy toward the end. Yeah, it's like you get a little attached to a disc, especially if it's a disc you did something cool with, like you aced with it. It's hard to let go of an ace disc. A fantastic birdie, a distance record, like my I'll never, of course, packed it in. I'll never get rid of this D2 Air, even though at the moment it doesn't really fly well for me, because I accidentally flipped this over downhill and threw 500 feet and almost hit my car in the parking lot. So I'll never forget that, and I will never give away this disc because it has special meaning. And I'm going to get more water. My throat is drying out. All right, dude says, Doc's here, hashtag Team Brent. Doc says, Brad maybe suggest a PDJ approved starter set. Yeah, my suggestions are the R2 Axiom and R2 MVP starter sets. Those are my suggestions. All right, I'm a few comments behind. Here we go. Do they make edible discs? I have seen a chocolate disc, but I don't know if it just smells like chocolate or if it's made of chocolate. But I have seen it, so I would start with that. Bryant, of January, he's talking about switching to Prodigy. End of January, I have 120 plus discs that are Prodigy. Previously had like 5. Okay, somebody is accumulating. Hey, Doc says, yes, chocolate truth. That was it. So good job, Doc. Thanks for hopping on that. B says, awesome. Thank you for the answer. Absolutely. They make Jawbreaker ones. Interesting. Minnie says, Peachberry Passion. Don't think it's edible, but go for it. B says, subbed and liked. Good luck with your stream. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for hanging out with us, asking some questions, and interacting. It's always fun. Doc says, speaking of giving away discs, Brent, that's my plea for tonight. Want to help out noobs. Bought some Leopard 3 DXs to give away. How do you approach people to give away discs? I'm an introvert. That's a great question. So I'll let Brent answer that, and then if he doesn't, then I'll answer. How do you give away discs? I mean, personally, what I do is I play around and I just kind of keep my eyes open. And if I see somebody who doesn't have a bag and is carrying just 1 or 2 discs, then I try to kind of, naturally run into them and start talking about disc golf and say, how long have you played? Do you have many discs? And if they're like just these, then I'd be like, I've got a spare one for you if you want this. So I already answered it. Sorry, Brent. My bad. All right. Minnie says you could, in theory, make a disc made of Twizzler. Justin says Charlotte. What? Oh yeah, North Carolina. Yeah. I should label it better. Justin says, Birdie, I got a question. Let's see. What's the question? I've never had multiple signatures on a disc. Is there any chance I can buy one from you? My dream is to have Paul and Heimberg on a disc, or maybe Paul and Gannon. I mean, at the end of the season, I should be able to get some signatures. So, yeah, if you want to DM me on Instagram, we can talk about that. But it's certainly possible that I could get a disc, get some signatures, and get that to you. So yeah. I can't guarantee it, but I should be able to do that. As long as they both play USDGC, which would be wild if they didn't. Dude just says, dream vacation is North Carolina with infinite amount of discs. Amen. And my brother has like 800 discs, so it's a near dream situation for me. Doc says, dude, just speaking of the grip, the 2-finger grip, have you seen the thumb and index finger both on the top plate when throwing? I've seen it, and I actually gave some advice to a guy who throws like that. Throws just like this, and he throws 400. So, all right. Thank you, Doc, for the help. Charlotte, USA. Charlotte, North Carolina, USA. Infinite discs or infinite amount? Good question. Both. Doc says, meant were a lot of starter sets not PJ approved that are not great. Yeah. I shout out Innova and Discraft for kind of sporting goods stores and everything. And other ones for Amazon. But yes, the Innova and Discraft will be PDJ approved. Chocolate Truth is 100% chocolate and edible. Mr. French Fry says, yo, have a nice day. Enjoy your day yourself. Thanks for hopping on. Dude says, if you got a PDJ event near you, you could try to get them yourself, Justin. Yes. So the Pro Tour obviously kind of travels throughout the United States. But of course, not everyone is close to one of the Pro Tour stops. So I'm fortunate they will be coming to me, to Charlotte. But previously in Florida, I had to drive 2 hours, which isn't even that far, but still to make a Pro Tour event every day, to and from. That's something. The jawbreaker was a joke. I'm sure it was very serious. Brent says, just hit them with the disc. Good advice for how to give out a DX Leopard. Lucas says, hi, I'm new to your live. Thanks for hopping on and joining us, Lucas. Appreciate you being here. And do you play disc golf or are you just joining the live? It's all good either way. Brent says, just throw a disc at someone and be like, hey, you want to play? All right, so Doc says, there was a family throwing what looked like way over stable discs, wanted to go up to them, but no people day, I failed. Yeah, it can be awkward sometimes. What I like to do is when I'm playing through, I like to try to just make conversation. So I'll catch up to a group pretty easily and quickly. And if I were to have an extra disc in the bag, I'd be like, hey, you guys mind if I play through? How long have you guys played for? You know, do you guys want a spare disc? Like I've got tons. I don't know. I get it. I am fairly introverted myself, believe it or not. I am an introvert, so I understand it. But in the last years, I've done a lot of work that forces me to interact with people. So it has become less of a difficulty having conversations, striking conversations. But some days I just don't want to. I don't want to talk to people. So Justin, unfortunately, doesn't have the Pro Tour stop coming through. Yeah, I should be able to, Justin, so give me that, send me a DM on Instagram and we'll talk. Dude just says, Brent, the goal is to give them a disc, not a concussion. And Doc says, that's why I'm hashtag Team Brent. Awesome. If you can get Calvin, get the signature really big. Yeah, give me any details in an Instagram comment. And then hopefully maybe you can even remind, or Instagram DM, and you can remind me again when USDGC is actually close. It would be the ideal way to do it. Put hashtag Team Brad on the disc just in case they get mad they got hit. All right, that's a great plan. The leopards are Leopard DX Glow. Got for $4.50 each, 45 for shipping tax, etc. So 8 to give away, 1 to hoard like a dragon. Nice. Squirrel Hunter said, just played around on Friday. Heck yeah, how did you do? How's the weather near you? I just came from Michigan. It was windy and cold, and then it got really, really nice, and then I left. So that was convenient. But it was beautiful weather a couple days ago, and I assume Friday was really nice. Like, across a lot of the United States. Angela says, does the disc go by color? So a lot of these discs are different colors. Some of them are, I'll do this. Ugh. These are a couple of Braves. So the colors don't mean anything. These are just cosmetic differences. But certain discs, like Calvin Destroyers, the coloration of the rim actually impacts its stability, and they'll make a different color for a different flight path. So sometimes there's actual variation and differences. Sometimes it's just a preference thing. And if you have discs that fly a little bit differently, it helps if they're different colors so you know which is which. And you don't get a Brent situation where it's so dark that you can't read your disc and figure out which one to putt with. And then you lose to me and Pig. Doc says, can't wait to play tomorrow. If I see noobs, I'll be like, what would Brent do? WWBD, what would Brent do? Literally after I gave advice. All right. Doc says, Angela, color is what drives a lot of people for how they pick. Yeah. Justin says, don't have pros near me. So what state are you in, Justin? Just generally speaking, just to see if there is a Pro Tour stop that comes through at some point. Dude just says, if Brad would sell a disc to me, I would totally buy a Brave. Heck yeah, I would sell you a Brave. Signature optional. Harsh says, I'm watching multiple YouTube lives, but you're the one who is literally interacting with all views with reading each and everyone's comments. Feels like we're also part of the live. Awesome. I'm glad to be able to do that. It's a lot of fun. And thanks for hopping on and leaving a comment. And I lost the chat a little bit. Let me keep scrolling up. I got this. Wow, how do I get this far back? I'm a few minutes behind. Apologies. Justin, also too young to drive. That makes it really, really tough. And I did see that you were in West Virginia, and so they don't get that far. Well, they get that far north, but they jump all the way up to Michigan for a Pro Tour stop. So that is unfortunate. I think Kansas, yeah, they just don't get in state for a Pro Tour stop. So totally fair. But yeah, definitely. If you're, / when you're able to, check in with me on Instagram or Facebook. And if you can't even send direct messages for whatever reason, leave some YouTube comments and I'll interact with you that way. But in the live streams, as much as it helps me to have the conversation, I don't have the kind of comment record like I will if you leave it on a different YouTube video. So we'll do it that way if we have to. All right, Justin. Doc says, Justin, keep a lookout to do some live signings. There are some. That's true. There are options. Ordering Idlewild tickets soon, Dude says. Heck yeah. Yeah, people, no people day is too relatable. Yeah. It happens. Yeah. Fishing says, you have the Penter disc. I don't have a Penter disc. I'm not sure. I haven't heard of it, so I don't have one. And I clicked and lost the chat. Okay. Don't worry, everybody. I got this. Dude, honestly, I like disc golf because it's not a team sport. I get to chill in the woods by myself. The only team sport I enjoy is soccer. Yeah, I love soccer. Yeah, it's totally fair. It's one of the best things about disc golf is you just don't need a group. You don't need other people. If you want to, you can play with 1, 2, 5, 15 people. Maybe not all at the same time on one hole, but you can get groups together if you want, and you can play by yourself if you want, which is just a beautiful thing about the sport. I played soccer for 16 years, and when I wanted to play soccer by myself, I had very limited options. Take a shot and chase my ball every single time, or just practice juggling or find a wall somewhere that I could kick out off of. So playing alone is not as fun, not ideal. But disc golf, you can get the entire disc golf experience by yourself. Marley and Mars is back. Heck yeah. Chloe says, show us the breakfast. I had breakfast for lunch. I had French toast and biscuits and gravy. Justin says, when is USDGC? It will be, that's a great question. It will be October, I think. Yeah, it should be October. Last time I tried giving some discs away, left some putters 2 at a time at local putter course. Never saw any again. Well, somebody got them. Justin had a tournament yesterday, won by 12 strokes in MA2. Good night. Those poor MA2 players. You're bound for MA1. I mean, with your distance especially. Marley, gotta go again. All right, thanks for hopping on. Angela says, cool. Sam says, what's discs gold? Educate me, please. So if you didn't catch it, the difference between a disc and a frisbee is generally the shape here. Disc golf disc is designed for distance, and a frisbee is designed to be thrown and caught, pretty much. And and all of these discs have a little bit of different flight path to them. I don't know about it's disc golf. My brain is a little slow sometimes. So the idea of disc golf is to throw from the teeing area to the target in as few throws as possible, like the rules of golf in general. And you also have a driver. Here. This is a driver. We'll do this. This is a mid-range, clearly shaped quite differently. And then a putter can be similar to a mid-range, but they're usually more rounded and tend to be what the discs you're going to use to make it into the basket itself. So each of the discs fly a little bit differently. They're all designed for a different shot shape to get you closer to the basket or to a good landing zone in the fairway. And yeah, you can throw backhand or forehand or overhand if you really want to, but you have to pick a disc to fly that way because not every disc will fly well overhand. And yeah, it's fun. It's a great sport. You can play by yourself or with a group. And if you have a free local course, you don't have to spend hardly any money to get a couple of discs and fully enjoy the sport. So it's one of the cheapest sports, and it's great for families. Doc says, never heard about rim color, but I've heard some colors had a bit of stability variation. Yeah, I think it's certain companies intentionally, but it's not a universal thing for sure. Certain runs of discs. The amazing Spider-Man Peter Parker says, I subscribe to your channel, bro. All right, I got Peter Parker subscribed to the channel. Heck yeah. I have a Spider-Man mouse pad that I'm using. So, absolutely awesome. Heck yeah. All right, let's keep going here. Brent, you lost to Brad. Yes, he did. I didn't even get a letter. Oh, yeah. Squirrel Hunter says, I'm a chill guy. All right, skip a few. Roxanne says, hi. Hello, thanks for hopping on. Brent losing to Brad is hurting like when we lost Optimus Prime. Okay. Alice says, what's up? Play today. Hey, Alice, thanks for hopping on and joining. It was a woods course, played surprisingly well. It was a new course as well, one that just got opened up near me in the UK. Heck yeah, man. I'm really glad you were able to play. I am really, really glad you got out there because disc golf needs decent weather sometimes. And I know that the UK takes a little while to warm up. So glad you were able to get out. That's really awesome. Angela Lovins live in Indiana, and he stops here. So the Pro Tour, I don't think they stop in Indiana, but the toboggan course in Michigan is about 2 hours from the border, but it is east side of the state. So yeah, that'd be about 4 hours at least from the Indiana border, most likely. So yeah, that I don't think there is an Indiana tour stop. Yeah, sorry. But of course, there could be some great disc golf courses and some pros might play. Blaze says excited for next week. Yeah, Blaze has a big tournament that he's running coming up, and then he's coming to Charlotte, so it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna play some great courses. Blaze might be on the channel. Hope you guys are ready. They stop around Cincinnati. Interesting. You know. Dude just says, can't really practice by myself. Goalie life. Yeah. You really have to blast it off a wall and then dive for it. Like, it's just not the same. It's not the same. Doc says, long day, he said juggling, and for a minute I was like, juggling? Which I actually can juggle. I'm not good at it, but I can juggle. BR, I never played disc golf, just like your energy. All right. Well, hey, disc golf is a great sport. Not everybody likes it. I didn't like it the first time I played it, but I will always say it's a very approachable sport to just try out, and never know who you're going to run into on the course, and maybe make a lifelong friend. Also, it's great for families. Families can play. Would gladly throw plastic every day. All right. Okay. I know it. I'm behind the chat. I blame Doc. Before Doc was here, I was great. Keck says, hello from Germany, Bavaria. Hello and welcome from United States, North Carolina. Not many courses in the UK, but some good ones. That's good. Brent says, Doc, would you want to see a match play between Brad and I? That's a good question. Doc says, of course. Of course, we all want to see it. Brent says, I'll tell Brad we need to do it. He's worried I'm taking over the channel. Hashtag Team Brent. Doc says, Brent, so it would be like 18-0. Sure. Very nice says, do you like cheese? Yes, but I'm lactose intolerant, so I like cheese. Cheese does not like me. I still eat it. Brent says, it was pitch black outside. I didn't honestly lose, says the person who lost. Doc says, took advantage of your poor night vision. Sounds like Brad. So all the cheese questions. Lily VR says, hi, hello, thanks for hopping on and joining. Alice says, great day for the weather, so can't complain. Heck yeah, that's awesome. And Lily says, I subscribe. Hey, thanks, appreciate that. Lactose intolerant. Yes, that is correct. We, some of us suffer worse than others. I suffer and accept it. Especially for ice cream. Lily says, how are you? I'm doing quite well. I'm a little bit tired, but otherwise having a great time on the live, and just was able to visit some family and friends in Michigan for a couple of weeks. So that was really great. And then I got to come back home in Charlotte, where I belong, where the weather is beautiful. I'm very happy. Lily says, you're going to watch me throw 500 feet, then miss the 10-footer. I'm excited for that. Doc says, super mild tomato allergy, so I feel you, dude. Also, peanuts, have to cook them before eating for some reason. Otherwise, get the itchy throat. Huh. Dude says, disc golf gets more fun the further you get into it. True, true. Doc says, before me, there was no soup. We didn't have any soup references before Doc hopped on either. We did have Ed Sheeran, so. Dude says, I think I have a fruit pollen allergy. It makes my mouth itch. Huh. Malad says, hi bro, are you killer? Are you killer? I don't know what that means, but I'll just say no. Outboard. Hello from northern Maine. We have some of the most northern courses in the US. Heck yeah. I have not played Maine. The closest I've been is Massachusetts. Well, because I played Maple Hill. Maple Hill is the furthest northeast that I've gotten. But Maine, it's got to be some pretty cool, courses up there. Heck yeah. Brent says, couldn't really see last night. Yeah, that's why he was confused when I just absolutely destroyed him. Justin, all right, great. You sent me some DMs at Instagram. I'll get back to you after the live is done tonight. So heck yeah, thanks for doing that, and we'll get things worked out for sure. Dude, went to Top Golf today. Wish they would do something like that with disc golf. I have seen it once. I can't remember what or where, but it was an enclosed kind of throwing field. But it is kind of tough because you want to get your disc back. Whereas with Top Golf, you can just buy their golf balls. So it's a little tough, but you're absolutely right. We need it. We desperately need it. We need like a bowling alley return to where you chuck it to the end and then it brings it back to you. That's what we need right there. Tuda says, I might also inquire about the Brave. Heck yeah, dude. The Brave is beautiful. Although I wasn't throwing it in Michigan too much because I had open shots and it was windy. But now that I'm back in Charlotte, I'm going to throw it all the time. All the time. This guy, Brent says, this guy Brad has like 20/20 vision with built-in night vision. I'm like partially blind with a weakness to dark sky. I do not have 20/20 vision. I actually don't know what my vision is, but I have contacts. So, to be fair, with my contacts, I have corrected 20/20 vision. But my vision is just okay. Nothing special. Have you seen that arcade-style putting machine that AB used? I saw it as well. I'm guessing that Doc probably saw it. I saw that for on social media, and it looked very interesting. It does not reward push putting. It's a very spin putty. Like the slot is very thin, so it's very much designed for the spin putt over the push putt, which I think is discrimination. But otherwise, it's very cool. Blaze says Gouda cheese or Swiss? That's a great question. I just had some Gouda last week. I lean a little toward Gouda personally. It doesn't quite have that bite that the Swiss cheese has to it, that extra little strength. But my favorite that I've been having recently is Dubliner cheese. Fantastic cheese. Just so good. So good. Doc says, "Oh, other topic idea I had. What's everyone's fantasy first drive song like some of the pro tournaments do? And what line do you hit it on? First drive song? Oh, they'll play a song? Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea what I would even say for that. I guess Wake Me Up by Avicii, because I already shouted out today. Justin says, what is your PDJ rating currently? Definitely higher than mine. Currently, my PDJ rating is 958. I dropped from 968 in the last couple of months with the Charlotte winter and bad putting, but I anticipate rebounding up towards that 970 mark quite soon. I'm feeling very confident. I've been playing really well. I beat Brent in some putting, so I feel like I'm about to just go dominate. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully soon. I've had a few bad tournaments stretch in the last 3 months, 4 months really. I guess April I haven't played any tournaments this month. I feel sad all of a sudden. Dude says, like to boast that I've got perfect vision. Bryant says, was pretty close to blind, but was blessed in 2019 to get LASIK. And as of right now, don't need glasses of any kind. Yeah, LASIK, I know that it can be really good. My dad had LASIK, and it's very helpful. And I have been told that I am a prime candidate for LASIK surgery. But for now, contacts are great. I don't mind putting them in. They're not crazy expensive, so I do contacts. I'm happy with them. But Neil says, what's your best disc golf accessories? For the winter, I have a couple of electric hand warmers that are pretty fantastic. I'm not going to be needing them anymore probably until like December in Charlotte, but I have played in very, very, very cold weather, and so these are a lifesaver. So electric hand warmers, rechargeable, very, very nice. Other disc golf accessories, got my rangefinder here. And a rangefinder is just very convenient to kind of just generally be aware of how far you're throwing, of how far you are from the target, so you kind of know your ideal landing zone. And you can also use it. Mine has, it is in yards, but it has to the 10th, to the decimal place, the first decimal place. So I can use this to find out whether or not I'm inside the circle by arranging the pin from my lie. So that's convenient because if it's 34 feet, I can step up. So rangefinder is definitely up there, and the hand warmers are definitely up there. That's the main thing. I always carry a Sharpie to mark new discs or to get a signature from a pro. However, I have like 5 or 6 discs like without my phone and name and phone number. So I need to change that. Brent says, Blaze says, I miss Avicii. Yeah. Cuckoo says, what is in backside colorful things? I don't know if you're talking about the disc golf discs, but if you are, these discs. Oh, let's go with this one. So these are all different disc golf discs. This one is a mid-range, and they all have different coloration to them. They fly a little bit differently. And then there's a wall behind it. I don't know. I don't understand your question, but that's the answer I've decided to give. AJ says, what is your best disc? Great question. A couple of my best discs, whenever somebody says, what's your favorite disc, I always give like 3 answers. So a couple of my best discs are the Brave 7-speed, 2-time world champion signed by Isaac Robinson. Heck yeah. And the Echo. This is a newer Echo that I bagged. Sunships for the Win sent this to me. Got the Tree Kick Ace with it, and it flies pretty far for an Echo. So one of my favorite mid-ranges, and then one of my favorite drivers. I like the controllability for the 7-speed, but with 7 glide, this thing goes forever. If I'm throwing a distance driver, it's going to be an Enigma. An Enigma. Also love the Soul. Oh, great question. Real ones eyeball it, that's true. But the more I know, the more I know. So I like rangefinders. Doc just uses internet distances. All right. Hit a 9-mile putt yesterday. Nothing but basket. Okay. All right. Cybernetic context. Neil says, what type of disc best describes your personality? Well, I would love to say the brave, but I probably have to say the insanity. There you go. Let's see. What else describes my personality? Oh, these are backwards. Let's see. What's a good disc pun? Yeah, I'll go with insanity. It's my favorite right now. Steve Banno with the important question, which disc do you eat off of? So I don't eat off of any of the discs. That's disgusting. However, I can't find it. I'll find it. I have it. All right, here's one. I absolutely have used discs as coasters for bowls and cups. So coffee, hot chocolate, soup, whatever you need to put on a disc as a coaster, I've done it. So this is one of my coaster discs. I don't like it. It's a piece of crap. I have another one that I can't find, but I have never eaten off of a disc. No thanks. Doc says, Steve, please, that's just hurtful. Hey, Ramsey's here. Howdy. Thanks for hopping on and joining, Ramsey. Appreciate you being here for a little bit. Ramsey has been very, very busy. So I appreciate any moment of his time hopping on. Doc says, Innova Dragon. Innova Dragon. Ramsey just got finished playing a round. It was so windy, but I feel all right about how I played. Heck yeah. Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, it's tough in the wind. Texas wind can be brutal. AJ says, what is the best starter disc? Best starter disc. If you're just picking one disc, I would say the Soul is one of the best. Maybe the Paradox, because they're a mid-range, so it'll fly a little bit further than a putter, but it's going to be controllable. It's going to be a little bit closer to a frisbee shape, which will help with familiarity, and it's very understable. So what that means is when you throw a backhand, it can go to the right more easily. So more overstable things, when you throw them, they just go left. They just dump to the left. But a more flippy or understable disc, you can have a lower arm speed and still get it to go straight or even drift to the right. So the Soul was one of my best discs early on as a disc golfer, and I highly recommend it, and it's still in the bag. I believe my Soul is my longest bagged disc. It has been in my bag for almost 3 years. Yeah. Blaze says River. I definitely would say if you're just getting one disc, I lean toward mid-range. If you're getting multiple, a River, a Brave, those are very similar discs, by the way, are both good shout-outs. Blaze says he probably eats out of his Wardens. Doc says not the Soul because of the Christian background. Soul. All right. It's a pun. We get it. He's looking for the taco. Hey. Got to eat out of the taco, right? Brian says, how about you be the first to get an ace with my Voss stamped disc? I should make a contest out of it. I would like that very much. I've tried. I don't know if Luke and Justin are here or if they remember, because I have it on camera. I think I chained out. With it. So I was throwing the whole bag and I hit metal and chains 3 or 4 times on the same basket, and I know I'm almost certain that the FX3 was one of FX2 was one of those that hit metal. So I have it on camera. It's gonna drop on the channel soon if I in fact did do that. But I'm like 90% sure that I chained out with it. So no ace with it still, but I absolutely put it straight at the basket. It was a great shot. Soul is nice. Yes, it is. After 2.5 years, I still don't think I've got an ace, Duja says. It's going to come on the Pro Tour. Trust. Heck yeah. Just like Gannon, your first ace is going to be on the Pro Tour. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be filmed. It's going to be magical. Doc says, Duja probably just means you're more focused on a good shot. Most aces are lucky bad shots. Fair enough. Or intentional shot number 50. Dude, looking for first ace to be a skip or an accident, or a spike hyzer, or a full bid with a like hillside behind it. You never know. Ramsey, the boys and I finally made a plan for our summer disc golf trip. Gonna be awesome. Make a bunch of videos at a few famous and pro courses. Heck yeah. That's really cool, dude. I hope that's a real blast. Are you planning on the Flying Armadillo course? Dude has gotten really close to acing on the next hole's basket. Brian says, snap, let's go. That's more than I've come close to. That's awesome. Dream trip, Ramsey. Yes. Dream trip, just a disc golf trip. Doc says, only ones for me were at the putting course. Don't count those. Yeah, I try, like, I don't really care, but I try to say, like, 100 is pretty much an ace cutoff for me. Pretty much. And that's pretty short. It's pretty easy. It's whatever. Only courses near me are technical putter courses, which are a lot of fun. Blaze had a 200-foot forehand go dead center and fall out. Yeah, I've got a couple of spit outs on the channel for sure. It's heart-wrenching. It's heart-wrenching. Dude says, maybe that's why I don't throw far. I'm more shot shaping, which is fine. Heck yeah. Get that angle control, get that accuracy, and then you'll get on the Pro Tour and you'll be like, oh, this is a wide open 400-foot shot. And you'll just ace it. Maybe more field work to help distance. Ramsey, we're playing the Flying Armadillo on day 2. Gonna make a few videos out of that. Thanks for the recommendation. Awesome. Glad that you're following up on that. But yeah, that's like a must-visit course if you're in that area. So I hope that's really, really great. I will watch those and be very, very jealous. I would love to play Flying Armadillo. Doc says, for me, it's 250, but to each their own for aces. Yeah, 250 is a high requirement for an ace. That's a pretty high requirement because a lot of people don't have a course with a longer, holes longer than 250 that are aceable. Dude, definitely get some field days and tape review this summer in today. Minus the today. I don't know why I typed that. Definitely get some field days and tape review this summer. Heck yeah. Dude usually post videos on the Disc Golf Discord and get feedback. But would be open to some Brent tips. All right. Yeah, Brent will give you forehand tips, and I'll give you tips for actually being a good disc golfer. Piper says, hi. Hello, Piper. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. All right, let us check the poll here. And all right, Holland slowly dropped down a little bit in votes to 38% versus Kristen's 27, but still a commanding lead. And I think once we hit 100, I'll put myself a new poll up there. But that's a pretty definitive. It's a pretty definitive decision. 10% lead for Holland versus Kristen, and then 22% for Owen and 14 for Missy. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Nice spread there. Holland has certainly been showing her potential lately. Doc says, Brad always picking on poor little Brent. SCG Disc Golf in the chat. Switched accounts. This is Ramsey. Hopped on over to SCG. Shout out SCG if you guys are interested in watching some up-and-coming disc golf content. Place is roasted. Dude, need those forehand tips, always end up cutting left like 60% of the time. Well, I will not be your source for forehand tips. I think we all know that. Brent has a fantastic forehand. Doc says, can't get the forehand, best I can do is get out of trouble. Sounds about right. Sounds about right. Dude, can't forehand anything under an 8 speed. For me, the zone works, but yeah. Only forehand I can get is a cheeky tempo approach. Yeah. Yeah, the forehand is tough. If you don't have the baseball background, it's gonna be tough to learn for sure. But it takes a lot of work, like anything in the sport. But I feel like I don't know, there's some little part of forehanding that I just don't get, and I think once I get it, once my mind opens up and accepts it, I'm gonna be like, wow, how did I not understand this? But I don't have it yet. Maybe one day. SCG says, have you ever reached out to any companies about sponsoring a video? I have not. The closest I've gotten is Fox Flyers Disc Golf to sponsor like my disc reviews. So I've gotten a promo code with them, but I knew them personally. So that was a family that ran tournaments and sold discs near me in Florida. So that was the closest. It was a technical sponsorship, but it wasn't like a manufacturer sponsorship. They were a retailer, not a manufacturer. So I've been thinking a little bit of how to kind of do stuff like that. Yeah, it's kind of always in the back of my mind, kind of thinking about it, of the best way to handle sponsorships for videos and stuff. I don't think really that I've established the channel is getting enough views yet on content to justify, getting a company's interest in sponsoring a video. But I think we're heading in the right direction. And Doc says, dude, you're young, go learn baseball, LOL. I feel like they catch off the knuckle of my index finger. Yeah. And Duja has played baseball for 9 years. Well, then I have no answers for you. Sorry. I don't know. It's beyond me. 10 years would give you the 500-foot forehand. Just one more year. Brian says, do you have a tournament June 14th and 15th? So I think so. I'm planning on U.S. Amateurs, which I believe is June 8th, 9th, 6th, 7th, 8th. I think 6th, 7th, 8th. And then the next weekend would be Charlotte Amateur Championship in Charlotte. So that's my plan right now. I have not signed up for the Charlotte Amateur Championship, but I am locked into the U.S. Amateurs for sure. I'm not going to miss out on that. But yeah, right now I am planning, but not guaranteed that weekend for the Charlotte Amateur Championship. Are you going to come join me, Bryant? Because it's a great tournament. Hundreds of people will be playing. Brent says I showed you how to do forehand the last 2 days. And by that, Brett means that he threw me my Wardens back, and it happened to be a forehand. But it was like 50 feet, 40 feet. Not good enough. Dude just says, LOL, I am not playing high school baseball. Yeah. Just keep going into disc golf. You got it. SCG says, sweet, I've been thinking about asking local business for sponsorship if we advertise for them. Might be too small of a channel, but you miss all the shots you don't take. That's absolutely true. And if you ever get a yes, then I'll be like, okay, it's time for me to do that too. So thank you for being the guinea pig for me. Judas says, better yet, get Brent. Better get Brent to tell them they'll be so starstruck they won't not accept. Hey, G-Key says, back from Michigan, not clickbait. It is not clickbait. Thanks for the 10, man. Really appreciate you. G-Key has been dominating in the Valorant streams lately with way more concurrent viewers than I have ever pulled. But heck yeah, dude, I am back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm ready to actually play a Charlotte course. It's been forever. So I think heck, we could probably do tomorrow if you want, Cheeky. By the way, I saw your stream and I was prepping for my stream and I was like, I want to jump in for a few minutes, but I need to get ready. So I missed out on joining you today. But man, GK has been killing it over there. He's pulling in the massive donations. He's found the rich people. The rich people over there. Doc says, tell companies you know Brent. I'll tell the company Brent works for that I know him, and they'll probably turn me down. Better yet, get Brent to tell them. Oh yes, I read that. That'd be so starstruck. We need to be Brad's PR team. Oh no. The last thing I need is Doc as my PR team. No way. Dude, real get him on Joma's commentary. We have a slight guest. Not really. Just got somebody coming in for something.
Sorry, you probably didn't see my text. Can I grab all these?
Yeah, for sure.
Am I in the way?
We'll slide over a little bit.
I'm so sorry.
We got real life interruption here as my brother comes in to collect some discs. Dude says, run to Estonia for disc golf reasons. Dude just says, barring any injuries, disc golf is my lifetime sport. Heck yeah. That's how it's done, man. Go all in forever. All in forever. That's the way that it does. And disc golf ages really well. I mean, Doc would know all about that. But the longer you play, I mean, the more seasoned that you are in the sport. As long as your body can handle it, which for the most part, you can get up there in years and still play competitively pretty well. SCG says you have 5.4K subs. I think you get some sponsors. I've seen smaller channels get sponsors. Yeah, sub count is an element of it for sure. But long form video viewership is a huge part of it. And a lot of my viewer base has been built from shorts and live, which definitely helps building subscribers. But not all of that transfers over to long form video viewership. So if that's something that the company is really focused on for what they value, then it'll be a little bit less of an impact to see 5.4K subs if they're like, but you average like 400 views a video. 400 is great, but they might not be quite as interested because of that. Jiki says tomorrow. Heck yeah, dude, we'll run it tomorrow. Get that round in. It's been a while. Doc says, dude, no worries. I got plenty of injuries and I play, so lifetime is not a worry. Yep. Dude says, played Valorant for like 5 months, but could never get into it. Yeah, I haven't actually played myself, but it very much reminds me of kind of certainly a different style of game. But like there's an essential element of something like Siege or Overwatch where you have your team-based point defense strategy, but it looks like it requires a lot of creativity. And there's some creativity in Siege, but Valorant looks like it's next level what it requires for you. And I guess Jiki has the know-how for the strategy. He's pretty much an authority figure on mollies. Dude says the rich 5090 owners. Exactly. All right, are we back here? Sorry for the mild interruption. My brother just had to get some stuff, of course. SAG says, tell your brother we said hi. I'll tell him later. Brent says, hi, Jake. I should have been reading this. I missed out. Jake, you got to run and get some editing stuff. If I'm in front of my computer, I swear I'm just doing 24/7 at this point. Yeah, fair enough. That happens. The goat. Yeah. I'll tell Jake all of you said hi. Get this all settled again here. Calling Doc old. Doc says it's true. Jiki, yeah, dude. I'll check my text when I'm done, and then I'll shoot you one just to make sure we get something set up. Doc says, me and my dog sit on the front porch and yell at kids to get off our lawn. Jiki, don't know how I managed to get long form content going, but it's a great category to have success in. Yeah, it's definitely tough in disc golf because if you don't have pro, big names, it's hard to get content off the ground. But it's doable. It's doable. Currently, shout out to my own video. The Wheel of Misfortune round is doing pretty well, and so if you haven't watched that, go give that a watch. It's worth it. It's a lot of fun. You get to see hashtag Team Brent on there, and it's a great video. And part 2 is coming soon. I really wanted to have it done already. Unfortunately, with all my traveling, with my time spent in Michigan, traveling back, helping Brent move, I haven't been able to finish editing it. So it's happening soon, but not yet. So it's coming out soon. Coming out soon. Just keep waiting. But yeah, in the meantime, watch the first one. Dude, Doc says being old's just mean I outlived my enemies except Elcor. Dude just says the daily birdie is what got me into birdie time. All right. Yeah, it's a good gateway into the channel. But of course, it works sometimes, but some people just only want to watch shorts and they don't watch the longer videos. Can't get offended at that. Brian says, hello, Jacob. I'll pass that along. Dude said, couldn't get along with the abilities. Fortnite, though, used to be insane. Yeah. Yeah, the abilities are a lot, and Siege has abilities too, but I feel like Siege does a lot of effort into balancing abilities. And if characters are overused, the Siege devs will actually nerf them so they get used less. They want people to be used roughly the same amount in general, which I like and dislike that at the same time. But they're very, very technical about it. I don't know about Valorant by contrast, but it's complicated for sure. SCG, have some finals this next week, so I need to head out, study for a bit. Might hop back in later. Have a good stream. Heck yeah, SCG. Thanks, Ramsey. Kill it in your finals, man. Get that studying in. No worries. I don't know how long I'll be on tonight. I'm kind of worn out by comparison. So may catch you later. Might not. No problem. Doc says, Digit thought about a challenge to send Foundation. Imagine forcing people to tee off to specific songs. Dude says, the only long-form disc golf videos I watch are the Foundation type challenges and Alden vlogs. Yeah, there's something to wanting to see something either Pro Tour level or outside the norm, where it's a creative thing, it's an interesting, enjoyable thing, or it's a personal thing. Alden does a great job with his content for sure, and the Foundation do a good job being very creative. Dude says Jay Milley and SCG. That'd be quite a combo. SCG says, hard to get started if you don't have any big names. Talk to Jay Milley, and he said he would make a video with us if he had time this summer. Yeah, dude, that's a connection that I'm wildly jealous of. Wow. Poma says, hello, I'm from Russia. Hello from the United States, North Carolina. Jay Milley shares a home course with us. Oh my goodness. Well, that's fortunate. That's very fortunate. That's cool. Yeah, we'll all watch if that happens for sure. For sure. Texas got some good disc golf creators. Yes, for sure. Brian says Myrtle Beach Championship is 3 courses: Sakosti and Splinter and Arrowhead. 10 courses on a golf course. Nice. Myrtle Beach Championship. Is that the one? Is that June? 13th, 14th? SCG says, am I included in the Texas creators? In the good Texas creators? Of course you are. Hey, I wouldn't comment on your videos if you weren't included in the good Texas creators. And Juju says, yes, you and Jay Milley were who I'm referred to. Nice. Doc says, Brad's got a great idea with Brent, kind of like watching the Globetrotters and seeing if you're ever, I can't read this, and seeing if they are ever beaten by the generals, i.e. Brad. All right, SCG's on the way out. All right. Catch you later, man. Good luck studying. Brian says, yes. Nice. Myrtle Beach Championship. Too bad those are conflicting. Would love to get together in a big tournament, but of course, the corresponding big tournaments are on the same day. Why not? Man, I'm dying a little bit here. All right. I'm alive. All right. What do we got for the poll? 99 votes. We need one more vote. Mega, can you vote in the poll even if you don't know who anyone is? We got to get to 100 votes. Hi, thanks for hopping in and joining us, Mega Rolf. Appreciate you being here. Dude just says reading Doc's comments are genuinely a talent at this point. It's like my mom would leave a note in cursive, and I could read and write in cursive, but it was a different thing to read a specific person's cursive, and I couldn't handle it. It was so difficult. Sorry, Mom, if you're here watching. I can't read your cursive. It's just like that. When Doc leaves a comment, I'm like, huh, what? I can't read that. Brian says, what's the requirement for the one in Charlotte? I don't think there's specific requirements because it is just an A tier. It's just an A tier, so it's just it's not even limited to MA1. So I think MA4, MA3, MA2, and MA1 all play a different combination of courses. I don't know what MA1 is going to play, but I imagine Eastway, Nevin, maybe Scrapyard should be great for me. That'd be great. Maybe Hornets. I don't know. A, we're at 100. Okay, nice. End poll. All right, so Holland 37%, Kristen 27%, 21 for Own, and 15 for Missy Gannon. All right, not too bad. We should do a song poll next with viewer submitted songs. I don't know. I don't know if we'll get many votes for that. What submitted songs are we thinking? All right, I'll do a poll in the meantime, and then you guys can submit some songs if you want to, and I'll think about it. All right, I'll get myself this poll started here. Brian says, if I weren't playing them blind, that would be tempting, LOL. Yeah, that you don't want to play Nevin blind. You don't want to play Nevin blind. When you're playing Nevin, you often feel blind. It's a tough course. It is a very tough course. All right. Doc says Dancing in the Graveyard is his pick for a viewer submitted song. The Man's Song by Dax, 16 by Baby Keem, I See Fire, but Metal by Miranda. So we got 4 submissions just from Doc and Tujit. Don't want a Samson incident. All right, so 2 votes in the poll, and we're evenly split, 50-50. All right, let's see. What else have I been up to? Oh yeah, I went to so my church has a small group that I go to after the main service every Sunday, and we had a Friday night event last week where we made fried rice, dumplings, and miso soup. And this was a full-on 2-hour cooking session. This was not here's how to make fried rice, make rice, and put a couple veggies in it. This was a meal. So thankfully I ate a little bit beforehand because I was anticipating cooking taking a while. But it was probably almost 2.5 hours of chopping vegetables, mixing things together, making the dumplings. It was quite something. But I'll tell you what, food tasted great. Food tasted amazing. And I got a bunch of leftovers, so I'm happy about that. But that was a pretty cool event. I had a great time with that. That is what I did Friday night. So I think I left the house at 7:45, came back for a half hour twice, and then got home at 11 p.m. And that involved helping Brent move during that time too, for the most part. And then yesterday, I helped Brent move again and got back at 11. So, and then I went to church today and ate French toast at a restaurant this afternoon, and came back and took a nap because I was just exhausted, just wiped out, just exhausted. Bryant, I've played Nevin probably the most out of them, followed by Hornet's Nest, then the private one with the big electricity poles. Private one. I'm not sure what that one's called. I haven't played it actually, but Hornet's Nest and Nevin, yeah, they're the big ones. Yep. Dude says, yeah, you need a haircut, Brad. I'll just put it this way. I'm planning on getting a haircut on Wednesday, and I would get it sooner, but I'm busy tomorrow and Tuesday. Yeah. Also, I would have gotten a haircut 2 weeks ago probably, but I was in Michigan and I didn't want to bother, and I was busy. 5J Jonas Brothers says hi. We were just listening to Jonas Brothers music mix during the cooking session on Friday. Doc says Poison Habsden Hotel. And Tujit says wildly overrated. All right. Why do you want to hurt me? That's Brad's job. Dude says went to youth group tonight, but apparently got canceled in favor of the mission team meeting. So me and a buddy just walked around town. All right, nice. Yeah, that's unfortunate when they don't send out the notice that hey, something's been canceled. Yeah, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. But hey, I'm sure it was fun just walking around. Dude, I don't want to hurt you, but it's just the truth, Doc. Blaze says, I will say though your mustache is just a little longer on one side than the other. And actually, I'll tell you the real reality. The mustache isn't technically longer. It just lifts up on the right and it droops on the left. So they're actually the same length, but they don't grow in the same direction. So I found that out. It's like I have a colic on my lip, which is a little odd. But yeah, the right side doesn't grow the same direction. So they're just a little bit off. You should have seen it a week ago, though. It was pretty bad. Overgrown. It was like a forest. Dude just has got some ice cream. Pretty good time. Heck yeah. Doc says, dang, dude, I had plans with his hair to help us versus him and Brent. Mostly involved straightener. Figured he wouldn't be able to see. Hey, I've played soccer games in the pouring rain with longer hair than this, and I made it. So I can handle anything. Blaze says, shave it full neck beard. Viral says, I'm sleeping, shut up. So there's this fancy thing where you can turn volume down. It's available on phones and laptops and tablets. So if you need it to be a little bit quieter, you can control that volume yourself. So I just wanted to point that out just in case you were confused about, your voluntary participation in a stream where someone's talking. Adriano says, what's up, dude? Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Having a good time with the live. Glad to be back. I was in Michigan for 2 weeks. Great to visit friends and family. Glad I'm back home. Blaze says, wakey wakey, time for school. Rainy games are the best. Sometimes. There were a couple of rainy games that were great, but sometimes it's just a pain. It can be rough. Bryant says, I challenge you to shave your face and then no shave until the end of the year. I would say if I were to do that, it would look like this again, probably by August, like early August, maybe end of July. It'll look like this again, and then it gets bad. We don't want that. Pinar says, greetings from Turkey. Greetings from United States, North Carolina. Doc says, watching Dujit, not playing now because I can't read. I can't. Justin's back. All right. Welcome back, Justin. Dujit, is it possible for rain to cause sickness? Can't say I've ever gotten sick. Could just be an old man thing. Interesting. From what I've heard, there is an over association with cold weather and catching cold, but apparently, viral infections have nothing to do with the temperature that you are. Although they may be more common in colder temperatures as far as the time of the year. But I don't know. Justin says, how long is the stream going to be? I'm planning on a 3-hour stream. So until 9:30 p.m. EST. So another hour. And then I'm going to be done. I think I can make it that long, but I'm getting kind of a dry throat here. Doc says, Brent, you need a flag with pins corresponding to all of your viewers. I think Doc wants his own pin. Doc says, dude, I can get sick just watching rain. Interesting. Dude says, how much would you want for a Brave? Would you be willing to trade discs? It's a great question. I would say I would be mildly interested in trading discs, depending. But I would do like 20 including shipping, probably 15 for a Brave. Because I think I paid 18 or 22. I can't remember. I don't know. Yeah, something in that range. Nothing crazy. If you want to sign it, 10% upcharge. It probably loses value if I sign it. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Doc says, fluctuating weather can make people feel sick or unwell, though it doesn't directly cause illness. Changes in temperature and humidity can weaken the immune system. Makes sense. I'm old. Yep, that's fair enough. Yep, that sounds medically accurate. Not that I have a depth of medical knowledge, but dude, you would pay more for a Brad signature? All right. Heck yeah. Added value. 10 cents. Doc says, if I buy one, can you get Brent to sign it? Yes. $50 for the signature. $25 for the disc. And you have to both buy the disc and pay for the disc. You have to pay me for the disc. So it's going to be an $80 charge plus shipping. Yeah. Which I know that math is wrong, by the way. I know. Doc says, I'm also a C-section child, which has affected my immunity and lung issues. I didn't know that. I didn't know that happened. Doc, was that because you were an early C-section? Or was it just because it was a C-section in general? Brian says, when is my interview? I was going to text you about next week. So I'm interested in next week. All right, we got 10 votes, and do I need a haircut? We have 20% yes, 10% absolutely yes, which is probably Dujit, and then 70% no. I'll take that. Doc says something about being birthed helps children with lung function. Not really, doctor, just play one to get close to Al Gore. All right. Ooh, here we go. Dujit, trade you a Jarapalooza Balance or Pyro with a signature if you like. Yeah, I think a Pyro. I got to get myself a Pyro, right? I don't have a Pyro. I have the Balance, the off balance, but I don't have a Pyro. I'm interested, Dujit. I'm interested. Send me that DM and we will talk. We will talk. Plus, I might get that Pyro on a Birdie of the Day. Birdie of the Day with a Pyro. That'd be fun. All right, let's see. I talked about helping Brent move. Oh yeah, so Brent has this perfect little backyard where he has this like wooded garden, not garden for growing things, but kind of like a walking garden, if that makes any sense, with a couple of paths. It's perfect for picking a spot, putting a basket down, and then playing pig or horse, and picking a spot to putt from, putt through. And so, of course, Brent challenged me to horse, and I immediately destroyed him 2 rounds in a row. Just absolutely obliterated him. Never had a chance of losing. Every putt, we putted on a precision basket, and I would like hit high right chains, and it would just like flip over and fall into the basket, and then Brent would hit dead center and it would pop out. It was beautiful. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing. And then my luck turned, and I started popping out. I started hitting dead center and falling out and like scooping out of the basket to the sides. And then when it got dark, my luck flipped back, and I ended up beating three players, Brent, and then a couple of his friends, coworkers, and didn't even get a letter. Just absolutely dominated everybody. So that was pretty fun. But it was really a blast. It was good for practice, both on the precision basket and both because you're trying a putt that you often don't make, and then you're also replicating a putt somebody else just made. So it was really cool to like pick a tricky spot and say, can I make a putt from here? And can I make this putt challenging for the other person? So it was really fun. It was a lot of fun. And overall, I won because I win against Brent. I don't lose ever, except most of the time. Dude, it says think about it for a bit and DM me later. Perfect. No rush. Doc says, oh, dude, check out the Brave at Disc Golf Center. Cool wolf stamp. Ooh. That sounds cool to me. Doc says, need to buy a few more discs there anyway to get up to the 10% off. Of course. You got to get that 10% off for your 80 discs that you're going to buy. Brian says, that sounds good. Yeah, it'll be fun. I'll have to do a little bit of research to make sure that I understand how like sound is going to come through, if we're going to be able to hear each other and the audience will be able to hear. I'm sure that it's intuitive, but I want to make sure that I understand it correctly, because I won't be able to project sound and record at the same time. So we might need to do a little bit of prep work for it. Dude says, no PDJ event weekends are so boring. Yeah, that's totally fair. I haven't played a tournament in 4 weeks. I'm feeling the withdrawals already. And I'm looking ahead at this next weekend, and the only real tournament opportunity is an out of town, like all day thing. And Brent might need a little bit more help this Saturday. So I'm kind of hesitant to commit to just saying, sorry, I'm out for the whole day. And then on Sunday, there's a 3-round event, which would be very tempting if it weren't going to be all day Sunday, which it's tough for me to give up a Sunday, missing both church and small group, not to mention the potential to interfere with the live stream. So a 3-round in one day, it's just unlikely to work well with my schedule. And since I was in Michigan for 2 weeks, I'm not going to skip church for the 3rd week in a row. Well, not in a row. 3rd week in a month. That's better. Would just be sad. Yeah. Yep. So not gonna do that. But it's an otherwise great event. I wish it was on a Saturday because I would probably make that happen. Maybe with Brent. Doc says, hopefully in the future we'll have Go Throw tournaments then on weekends. Yep. Yeah, their expansion should be cool. Doc says, hey, Brent, when you beat Brad, can you give him a 3rd place trophy and make him feel like he's in a tournament? I don't know what 3rd place is like. I just win. Or I take last. No, I have a pretty good win rate. I should compare my my win rate to Brent's. I'm going to compare. We're going to see. And if you were to just take from before this year, like 2024 and previous, I'd be pretty confident that I would have a better win rate than Brent. But now I don't know. We'll see. All right. Brent versus Brad. I haven't gotten a win in far too long. Oh, our win rate is almost identical. So So Brent has 82 career events and 20 wins, which is great. Very close to a 25% win rate. And I have 61 career events and 15 wins, which is extremely close to a 25% win rate. So if I'm doing my math correctly, I think I have a slightly better win rate because 60, 15 out of 60 would be 25%, and 20 out of 80 would be 25%. But out of 81 versus 61, or 82, sorry, versus 61, I'm pretty sure my win rate's better. All right, let me see. Let me see. I'm going to do the mathing. Where's the divided by? .1. No, that's wrong. Brent's win rate is 24.39%. And my win rate is 24.59%. So Brent's win rate is way lower than mine, basically. This is what we need to know. My win rate is higher by 0.02%. So I am clearly significantly better than Brent. All right, Dugit says, oh, Brian says, good idea. I made the mistake of not researching, then epically failing with dual lives. Yeah, that sounds like something I would do. So let me know if you have any tips for it or if you learned anything, because that'll help me out. And then otherwise, I'll kind of look into it and see what I can find. Dugit says, chat, should I make disc golf content this summer since there are little to no people on the course and putting time lapses? Yes, I would love to see that. That sounds really awesome. Doc says you get fewer people in the summer. Dude just says I usually go early in the morning in the summer, less people due to work. And that makes sense because you can get a different schedule than school year. That's true. Doc says, what is everyone's favorite insect repellent on the course? I just deal with them. Dude just says, so less people see me recording myself and less people to get in the time-lapse footage as well. Matthew says, what are those things on the shelf? These are disc golf discs. So a disc golf disc, as opposed to a conventional frisbee, ultimate frisbee disc, is designed to go further and faster than the frisbee. Disc golf discs have different flight paths, so you can throw them around obstacles or on certain lines to land where you want them to. And they're used to play disc golf, which is a variation on the idea of the sport of golf, where you want to throw and get to the basket in as few shots as possible to keep your score low. There are drivers. I just need to grab an echo. There are mid-ranges, and then there are also putters. Each of them has a little bit different of a rim, and they're going to have a lot of variation to how far they can go and how their flight path is through the air. Normal guesses to what these are include plates. It's very common. And then, what do we get today? Vinyls? I got vinyls today. That one was potentially new. I do not eat off of them. That also gets asked. Brent says, I only have 3 wins this year. Yeah, sorry, Brent. Too bad. Doc says, dude, you never worry about people saying anything while you're filming. If Brad can do it, you got this. Fair enough. It's fair enough. Dude, if I start in summer, then no fewer people walking around. That's nice. Brent says, wow. It's just the truth, Brent. It's just reality. You gotta accept when somebody is 0.02% better than you at something. You just have to accept that. 200ths or two. It is 0.02. 0.02% better. How does it make you feel, Brent? 0.002%. It's got to be rough. Dude, the key is to play late in the evening, early morning, or midday on weekdays. Yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't work in Charlotte anymore because disc golf has gotten, it's a good thing, too popular, but kind of doesn't matter when you go anymore. Afternoon is best, but you'll get a crowd at any time. Anytime. Peyton says hi. Thanks for hopping on, Peyton. Appreciate you being here. How are you? Doc says, I know, Digit, we get a lot of people, older people walking, especially in the summer. Also, and Digit says, older people love to walk. It's true. Evan K says, hi. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Marlene Morris says, hi. Back again. All right. And says, bye. Okay. Thanks for checking in real quick. Doc says that he doesn't do any glow golf because of bad night vision, but love glow discs. Yeah, it can be tough. Tough to have the night vision struggles. Brent has that too, especially when he's playing pig. It's really tragic. Dude, I haven't in a while, but I got a few glow discs done up for full bag. I know somebody. Actually, the guy, Sunchips, who gave me the Echo, has multiple glow disc bags of different glow color so that he can take his orange glow bag or his blue glow bag to the course. Pretty cool. I do not. I do not have that. No way. Tanmay says, hi, brother love from India. Awesome. Thanks for hopping on and joining us, and hello from the United States. North Carolina. Kid says, Flip City #1. Dude, course isn't too popular in my town. Good for me, but meh, bad overall. Fair. Doc says, can you make your local course less popular? One here is super popular since the other two locals had to shut it down. Storm damage. Ooh, that is tough. Yeah, I would say maybe adding more courses is important there. Adding more courses to allow for the distribution of people, so one course doesn't get overflowed. Dude says, have little to no advertising, signage, tournaments, or disc shops anywhere. Warnor says, are you Canadian? I am not Canadian. I'm from the United States, but I did grow up in Michigan. So as far as United States was concerned, I was fairly close to Canada, but I didn't really have the kind of Canadian, really heavily Midwestern accent. So no Canadian for me. Doc says, lost our local one, dude. I feel ya. Yeah. SCG says, bro, I can't focus, man. That's always tough when you're really trying to get at the work and not able to actually focus. That was me last week working on the Wheel of Misfortune video. I knew that I was going to be like barely able to finish the video on time. So of course I couldn't focus. I couldn't do anything. And it took me way longer than I wanted to. I stayed up late. It was just a pain, and I only got half of the video done. So I was only able to do part 1. Just, it's so frustrating. Dude just says, got a really bad habit of losing discs. I don't think I've ever had over 25 discs at one time, but I've had around 60 discs in total. Ooh. Yeah, great question. Do you throw multiple discs off the tee pad? I've never had more than one out in the field at one time. I try to never have more than one out in the field at a time. Dude just says that's the main culprit and you stop doing that. I've also just really tried to institute a strict, like, count the discs on every tee pad. So when I get to the next tee pad, I make sure that I have 17 discs on bottom and 5 discs up in the putter's pouch. It's not always the best. Sometimes I'll go 4 or 5 holes and be like, oh shoot, I left one. And the worst thing is when I throw extra on the last hole and then I just jump in the car and leave. So that's actually my main disc loss, comes from hole 18 or a couple of practice shots after I'm done, and then I get in the car and just leave and forget about it. I actually lost an Echo 2 weeks ago because I did that. Michael says, have you ever played in the Redwoods? I have not played in the Redwoods. That sounds amazing. No, I'm in Charlotte, so I play in the woods, but no redwoods. That would be really, really incredible. I do play in some heavily wooded courses like Nevin, but man, that would be awesome. SCG says ADHD meds wore off a while ago, and now I just can't do studying. That's brutal. That's brutal. Doc says, dude, also take a picture or write down all the discs and colors in your bag. Double check, count every 3 or 4 holes. Dude says, even some of my discs I throw one off the tee pad and still lose it. The course is also quite wooded and grassy. Yeah, the grass can be the worst. The grass can just like absorb a disc, and you're like, well, it's gone now. That's the good thing about Florida and Charlotte is you normally don't have steady undergrowth. You have brush, that pop up, or a bunch of trees. But Michigan, that is where you can just lose it in the tall grass or the brush. It's just like a constant thing. The rough is rough. Doc says, I got a magnet once, was so happy and lost it day 1 in a creek. That's brutal. Bryant, track my discs in UDisc, and the ones I have with me are also checked, so I know which ones I'm supposed to have. Michael says, it will humble you. You cannot go over a redwood, bro. I 100% believe that. They're like 300 feet tall. I absolutely believe that. And they're massive. It would be amazing as an experience, though. It really would. I can just imagine it, and it's awesome. Let alone actually being there. Be super cool. Been playing for over 25 years? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I've been playing for 3.5 years. 3.5. So not too long for me, but enough to really dive into tournaments and competition and really enjoy it. Dude says, if I make a disc golf channel, it'll be Dude Disc Golf. Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Shortest disc life for me was 1 day for an ESP Annex. Yeah, Annex. That's rough. And Dude says, instead of just Dude, that will be me. Personal account, little alliteration in it. Dude Disc Golf, sponsored by #TeamBrand. Dude says, I bet AB could throw it over 1. Yeah, it's they're pretty high, but it'd be cool to see some of the pros try to throw over obstacles and just keep going higher and higher, or trees to throw over would be wild. Michael says, you're way good for 3.5 years. Thank you. I try. Doc says, Michael, what do you think about the new touring life for pros? Yeah. Dakota, have you tried out Innova's Proto Glow Plastic? I don't think so. No, I haven't. I haven't seen it. I have the Discmania prototype P5. P4, dang it. So I do have the Color Glow prototype P4, but no, it's not Innova. So the answer is no. I don't. SCG says, I would sub Dujit. Oh, we're subbing. We're all subbing to Dujit's Disc Golf channel. I can't wait to just watch like a time lapse of disc golf. That was promised, so it has to happen. Yeah, we try to keep it family friendly here. It's not the most strict in the world, but we keep it pretty family friendly in the comment section for sure. Doc says, more air. All right, I can't read that. Dakota says, is there new glow discs? Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, so that's interesting. I'm sure I'll have a friend that'll have one. I'll throw one and see them. SCG says, Birdie, do you have any disc golf challenges that me and my buddies could do? Ooh, disc golf challenges. Let's see. You could always do something like a horse or a pig style where you have to kind of call your shot and then execute it. Or, I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to think about that a little bit. There are tons of little things you can do, like the Caddy Pro wheels, like forehand roller, putter upshot, left-handed, blindfolded, things like that to kind of make things interesting. You could see how many throws it takes to reach 1,000 feet of distance. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think more about that. Good question. Thomas, chat just jumped. Thomas says, hi, Brad and everyone. Thanks for hopping on, Thomas. Appreciate you being here. Dude says, I think it's good for the sport. Allows for pro tour life to be more legit and comfortable. What is that? I see. Now I have to read Doc's comment. More Airbnbs, less convoy with RVs, cars, etc. I understand now. Yeah, Airbnbs are good, but the downside, of course, is cost. The expenses are rough because there's not enough money for the top 100 players to be able to afford Airbnbs and food and tournament entry. Well, tournament entry is usually covered, but you got to be like top 15, top 20. It's tough. Eric just introduced my neighbor to disc golf last week by giving him a few discs, and he knocked on my door today to go do some field work. Stoked to see him put in the work before I take him to play a course. Heck yeah, dude, that's awesome. Michael says, stay humble. I played several times with Paul Macbeth, a bunch in Utah. Heck yeah. That's really, really cool. No Paul Macbeth yet, but I played with Paul Ulibarri. So, what? A step down? I don't know. They had competed at the same level to an extent, yeah. But Paul's the GOAT. Paul's the GOAT. Yuli's awesome, but different level of game. Dude, probably a time lapse of putting practice, but of course time lapse could happen. Yeah. Putting practice, time lapse. Sounds like a lot of fun. That'd be awesome. I mean, it's something I should probably do. Maybe, but I won't steal your idea. Probably. Michael, at the Monster Tournament at Solitude Mountain Resort. Huge mountain course. Look it up. Yeah, it sounds really cool. Solitude Mountain. Doc says, used to love watching Hannah Macbeth in the woods with her leopard. Michael, hope she gets back into the sport. I saw that she played around a couple months ago. It was actually in Florida at it was in Jacksonville. It was at what is that course called? I played. She played on a card with Trinity Bryant. I am ashamed that I can't think of this course. I'll literally think of it when I stop trying to think of it. SCG says, dude, I've done some time-lapse putting videos. I realize I'm really bad at putting. Yep, that's why we practice. Yep. That's great. Should do it again. Last time I made a putting video. Didn't have a basket to practice with. That makes a difference. Dude, it says, I think if I ever got to the tour, I'd try to Airbnb with a group to split costs. Yeah, that's definitely a good way to do it. Get a group together, travel together if possible. Coordinate your tour, coordinate your expenses for sure. Doc says, always wanted the convoy life. Seems more romantic. Dude says, also more and more pros are going to be those middle class supported type. Yeah, and that is true. Which is kind of an unfortunate element of the game if there's a cost requirement to participate instead of it being a way to make a living. It's a little bit unfortunate. I would like to see it be a little more accessible for people who don't necessarily have the money already. SCG, if I did Pro Tour, I would do what Zach Nash does and just live in my minivan. That'd be the only way I could do it. Camping with all your competitors. Bryant says, I played with Brad. He's the best pro I know. Bryant has a very limited professional worldview. It's even funnier is that was one of my... No, we played on one of my better rounds. So that's fair. I played well. Second round when we didn't play on the card, it's one of my worst rounds. Brent would know the name of the course. Of course he would. # Team Brent. Van life would be sweet, but group Airbnbs would allow me to enjoy the place of the event more. Have a good time. Yep, absolutely true. Duji would be more a Ganon tour life. Baseball boys are on to say hi. Hello. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Eric says Trinity Bryant has a great story. Dig her own drawing and scripture on her bag. Yeah, I know it's hard. I don't know Trinity super well. I actually know her brother Caleb better, and I know her parents a little bit as well. I spent some time chatting with her mom at a couple of different tournaments and events, and I did beat Caleb in an 8-hole playoff for my only MA2 win. So I did have his mom and Trinity spectating as I finally took him down and actually won the event in a playoff. It was a lot of fun. But they have a good family. And yeah, Trinity has a really great attitude. She has a lot of talent. She has some good like friends that she's really kind of close to on the tour already, and including Ellie Mittling. So I think they're going to do well. I think she's going to do well. Marley says, I'm back, this time for realsies. All right. Heck yeah. I got another half hour. So if you're here for the whole time, that's great. Or if you peace out again, I understand. I'll only get hurt a little bit. Doc says, grow the sport, but get less people to play at my local course. SCG says, disc golf doesn't make enough money to pay every pro who plays. We need to grow the sport. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. King Jackson says, Arthur Morgan or John Marston. I have not played Red Dead or Red Dead Redemption 2. So, well, I put a few hours into Red Dead 2, but I haven't actually played them. So, unfortunately, I'll have to abstain from voting. But Red Dead 2 has been on my list for a long, long time. Just haven't really didn't dive into playing it. Yeah. Brian says, you played in the card behind me and we were fighting for the most bogeys and worst score. Yeah, that was fun. That was terrible. Oh, that was some good stuff. Yeah, definitely growing the sport. Honestly, I think we just hit a minor snag in the last year for disc golf, and disc golf is just going to shake it off and kind of keep growing. I have a lot of anticipation for the growth and health of the future of the sport, and we're really beginning just now beginning to see the fruits of school clubs and teens who got into the sport young. I think that people playing now there's only a few people who like have been playing for their whole life, and we're just going to have more and more and more of those kids grow into the sport, and the whole next generation thing is going to be massive for disc golf. Yeah. As CJ says, I like seeing a bunch of people play at the local courses as much as I like having it to myself. Still cool to see a bunch of people enjoying a round with people. Yeah, my favorite at Jonesville was a group of like 70-year-old guys who would play together. There were like 6, 7, 8 of them that would play, depending on the heat. And they were always so friendly. They'd let us play through. They would play doubles sometimes, but it was like 2 or 3 rounds a week. They would all get together and they would play some disc golf. And it's like, heck yeah, that's awesome. And they've been playing maybe for 3 years, maybe a year, maybe 25, 50 years, whatever. But some of them are new players who just like found a social activity to really enjoy, and they love the sport. And it's really an amazing thing that you can really get out together and have a great time, and it's healthy for you and it's healthy socially. It's really awesome. Digit weekly live stream update, 3 weeks till disc golf summer. Oh yeah. Marlon says, never stand on the bed with your shoes. Good advice. Don't stand on the bed with your shoes. Also, before jumping on your bed, learn what type of support your bed has, because it turns out if it's wooden boards, they break. Docs has got to work on my tan. Marley says, I just fell. Well, that's the bed with the shoes. That makes sense. Dude just says, hopefully the summer's not too hot. Doc says, only if I eat Taco Bell first. The first noticeable disc golf boom was after COVID and the holy shot. Absolutely. The growth couldn't be sustained at the same rate, but I think there was just a bit of an overestimate and a slight cutback, and then it's just going to keep growing. I think people are thinking, oh, the sport's dying. And it's like, no, the sport's not dying. It just, we jumped a little past the pace of the actual steady growth of the sport because it was so exciting. It's going to keep going. SCG, when I play at the Dublin Tech's club tournaments, there's this old guy named Steve who's like 85, been in the same card with him. He's so fun to play around with. Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. And sometimes, older people get curmudgeon-y, but a lot of times older disc golfers are they're just happy. They're just happy to be out. They're just loving the sport, loving hanging out with people. Doc says, always consider trying to do an elderly day at the local putting course. My church is mostly old people. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, just gather your friends. Eric says I moon tan instead of from the sun. Michael says, how many legit aces do you have? I believe I have 6 legit first shot aces. One of them was a blind shot around the corner. Very happy about that. My first ace was a legit first shot ace. And then I have a match play ace where I got like $80 for it. That was first shot ace. That was pretty cool. And 3 others. Michael says the sport is booming. Yeah, I think there's just this kind of temporary realignment with the steady growth of the sport and the overestimate that sponsors were like, we can pay, multi-million-dollar contracts to all these people. And then they're like, oh, we're not making that much money. Sorry, we can't give out a contract to you, to you, to you. So it's like they kind of overestimated a few things and they've cut back to the actual growth of the sport. And people have feared that cutback means the sport's dying. Really, the sport's still growing. We're just getting them to meet together instead of overestimating the growth of the sport. But it's not dying. They're just getting met together, and then we'll keep pushing back up. So sport's growing. Right. Dude says, last semester my school had a fun day at the park and promised disc golf, but I was let down with regular frisbees. That's brutal. That's brutal. That is highly disappointing. I am so sorry. I would never have let you down like that, dude. It would have been legit disc golf. That's sad. Marley, about to tune my guitar again. All right, I need to tune my guitar again. Doc says, dude, hard lesson. School always let you down. Okay. SCG, seems like it's dying. Seems like, wait, I lost it. Seems like it's dying because it got popular so fast, but now it's at a normal growth pace. Todd says, what's up? All right, I was waiting for Todd to hop in. Good night. I hope you were playing a round of better than even or 2 down disc golf at your local course. Todd? Back to the 10 down. Michael, won 1,885 in doubles. OMG lucky. Oh yeah, that's how it's done. That is how it's done. Ed J says, what's up, brother? Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Doing good. Back home. 2 weeks in Michigan. Great to see friends and family, but it's good to be home. I just noticed that my camera is off. Is this good? Are we good here? 1885 is more than most tournament wins before COVID. Yeah. Todd says, I'm surprised we voted for no haircut, even though I also voted no haircut. Michael says, keep playing. You're a great player. Yeah, it's longevity is important. Just keep going, keep getting better. Dugit especially is at the prime age to fully grow into a pro tour player. I'm too old. I'm 29. He's 14. The beard is faked. Dugit, don't need too much growth. Looking at you, pickleball. And now I feel like I'm the wrong way again. Oh well, doesn't matter. Alcor likes pickleball. Enough said. All right. Michael Dean says 58 legit aces. Okay. Wow. What is your legit ace footage for distance? Eric, doubles matches normally give a disc, a mini, and a chalk bag or towel at my level of play. Yeah. There's some local doubles leagues in Charlotte especially that will have some big money available for doubles. And sometimes the ace pot will get up upwards of $1,000, $1,200 in Charlotte. But what tends to happen is the tournaments that I play in, which aren't doubles for the most part, but for the tournaments, the ace pot will grow and grow at tough courses, and then we'll loop back to an easy course, and there'll be like 3 aces, 4 aces. So you're still winning money, but you're splitting, $1,000 for maybe even 5 ways. It can still be great. It can still be great. SCG says, have you ever thrown any trash panda discs? Only one. I can't remember what it was called. Yeah, only one of them. Only one. 24 says, nice beard. Thank you. Appreciate it. Grew it myself. It was a driver, a trash panda driver that I threw. Yeah. I don't remember what it was, but I threw it. If you named it, I would probably remember. Doc has thrown trash panda. Order some because I see a lot of their stuff, like what they do. Yeah, they're an interesting company. They have some interesting products. All right, so okay, 32 votes on the poll. We have 22% for a haircut, 3% for definitely yes, 9% for absolutely yes, and 66% for no, which I'm kind of surprised about. Michael says there's a tournament in Utah in the high Uintas. That's a mid-ranch and putter tournament. So much fun. Dude just says inner core is okay, goes dead straight. Eric got a J Millie Glow inner core at my door tomorrow from Trash Panda. Heck yeah, heck yeah, heck yeah. So mid-range tournament, so much fun. Sounds good. The Canyon? I don't think it was a Canyon, but it might have been the inner core. SCG says that J Millie inner core looks dope. Might pick one up. Dude says, did you watch the video for it too, Eric? Let me see. Let me see. I'm interested now. So they only have a few actual like discs out, don't they? Oh, I think I threw the ozone. Come on, load. Great, now that I'm loading a website, the stream's probably going to crash. 8-6, -3-1. I think I might have thrown the ozone. I'm not sure. Not sure. Not positive. And I lost chat. Of course, of course. All right, well, this is a good time to drink a little bit of water. All right, we loaded it. We loaded back up. SCG need to stop buying so many discs. Don't have much money. That's fair. Doc's like, I feel you just bought 8 to give away. Intercore Dune. Oh, I'm pretty sure it was the Dune that I threw. Ozone, ET1, ET2 Canyon. I'm pretty certain it was the Dune. I'm pretty sure it was the Dune. SCG used my entire tax return in like 2 days. Ooh. Trash Panda is good for the planet, but mad disc-wise. Doc, up to the 10% discount at Disc Golf Center. Okay. You added enough discs to the pile. All right. That's how it's done. I haven't bought a disc in a while. I've used merch credit, but I haven't actually like paid for a disc in a while. I'm happy about that. I don't need to be doing that. I pay for enough tournaments. I don't need to be paying for discs outright. No thanks. All right, let's see. Oh yeah. So quick shout out for my monetization status. It's at like 99.5%. I just need 5 more watch hours for the channel. So by tomorrow, we should be good. We should be good. So that's really exciting. I'm really, really happy about that. Gonna hit full on 100% monetization level. 100%. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, so I know I'm not gonna make a lot of money, but it will be nice to get a measurable amount of money back for the videos and be like, okay, this is what I get for this much effort. It's not going to be much, but it's going to be something. It's going to be something. Dude just says, might get a job at the local ball golf and spend a lot more on discs. Doc says, fun to buy discs and see how bad, I mean, good you can throw them. Eric says, the Canyon is great. Trash Panda, the Ozone's good, but the plastic is too stiff. E1 and E2 are collabs with Gateway. Gotcha. SCG says, watch the language, Michael. The chats are getting auto banned. Yep, I have a chat filter set up for the whole channel, so there's some stuff that's just not going to come through. So, FYI, try to keep it family friendly, and we'll all be good. Doc says, Dude, wonder if we'll ever see paid caddies for disc golf, like ball golf, non-pros. Yeah. That's very interesting because, yeah, basically you only get paid caddies for the winners. SCG says you should have the 5 watch hours from the stream. So it lags a couple of days behind. So basically tomorrow I'll get credit for watch hours from Wednesday of last week. The good news is the Wheel of Misfortune video has been steadily doing well over the last week. So I should get the watch hours from that. So I should be good. If it was only going to update like immediately, I would get the watch hours from the stream. But it'll update tomorrow and I'll find out for sure. But it should be there. It should be there. It's Your Girl Mars says, hi, remember me? Absolutely. Thanks for hopping on and joining us again. And I am now back home. I'm not, I loved visiting friends and family in Michigan, celebrating Easter with my family. It's all great. But I'm back to my own house. I have my discs. I have my local disc golf courses. So I'm happy to be back. Doc says, did you get your check and just buy it? Yakun shoes. If you don't like them, blame Brad. I don't recommend them. Dude says, paid caddies are not as fun as Slybeck caddying for Gannon and staring at the camera the whole time. Fair enough. Doc says, meant how non-pro disc golf players pay people to caddy for them for rounds. Yeah. So yeah, you hit the course up and then somebody caddies for you, you get some money. Yep. SCG says, oh right, I knew that the watch time lags like 2 to 4 days behind for me. Yeah, I think it's 5 days behind for me. Todd says, hi girl who saved $103, Marley. Michael, there's a tee pad in the redwoods that you throw off a tumbled redwoods tree and there's only 3 pockets to hit or you're doomed. That sounds awesome. That sounds great. It's Your Girl Mars says, I feel like your hair grew a lot since last live. It kind of did. Once it hits that point where it like it hits the eyebrows fully, it just seems to just drop right into my eyes. So it's time for the haircut. It's time for the haircut. I can't access the poll. All right, awesome. I see that no is at 63%. So 37% of the votes are spread out in the yeses. And I'll say I agree with the yes. It's time. I'll get a haircut this week. Get all just trimmed up. Although funny enough, last live, my beard was longer and my hair, was a week shorter, and I trimmed up the beard. So I did put some work in, but yeah, the hair needs some help. Michael says, dude, hair is rad, bro, as long as you can see the basket. I've had it a fair amount longer, but it's just not my preference. I like it up to this point. Like maybe 5 days ago, my hair was like the longest I prefer it. And then as soon as it gets past it, I'm like, my hair's a little long. Yeah, it's a little too long. Course isn't fancy enough for personal caddies. Yeah, that's an issue too with like a golf course. Like there's money put into a golf course and people pay a lot to play versus disc golf where you might put money into it, but you're normally not paying to play. You're not going to have paid caddies, stuff like that. Maybe one day. SCG says you should grow down and do a man bun. Never done the man bun. I don't think that is in my future. Yeah, I don't know. I like it this long and shorter, basically. Dude just says, imagine a course like Maple Hill or a big open course having carts. Yeah. The New World in Jacksonville, Florida had carts available for a while, but then the course died. So they keep the course, but they drop the carts. Kind of a bummer because it's a big course. Todd, haven't been back to the course since I embarrassed myself last time. Took 4 days off to refresh. Went to the field today and threw each disc one time for a distance check. All right, nice. Yeah, you gotta prep yourself to head back to the course. It's Yo Girl says, bye, gotta go. All right, thanks for hopping in and dropping by for a little bit. Maybe catch you next week. Michael says, look up Back Camp Moab, Utah. So money. The dude just says, please no man bun. We don't need to lean into the stoner in the woods stereotype. No worries about the man bun. Man bun will not happen. Will not happen. Dude, you'd rather all ball golf courses be transformed into disc golf courses? That'd be fun. Todd, I wonder if Jesus ever threw it up into a man bun. Probably not. Probably not. They didn't have LaCroix back then. SCG, went to college thinking if I'm going to do crazy things with my hair, now's the time. Hair got to my nose and I just couldn't handle it anymore. It's now like 1.5 inches to 2 inches long. Dude just says, short's the way to go, low maintenance. Fair enough. Yeah, I definitely haven't gotten it down to the nose, but I've gotten it really into my eyes. And it's a pain, especially when, my hair tends to be kind of, I don't know, where it's like messy, so it doesn't go straight down. Then of course I play in the rain and it just like drops into my eye, starts poking me in the eyeball. That's a pain. No thanks. Michael says West Course Tour is boom-bastic. California courses rock. Base Camp Moab, Utah. Dude says, what does everyone rather? Short wooded courses or long wide open courses? I tend to the wooded. I think that wooded courses are, I don't know. I like accuracy over power. Yeah, that's me. Maybe it's just like because I can't throw far, but I also think it's cooler to watch shot shapes in the woods versus just open shots. Just me. SCG says, based on history, Jesus probably had curly hair, probably has some luscious locks. Yeah, maybe. It's hard to say. There's a lot of guesswork that goes into what a traveling rabbi would have had for hair back in the day, 2,000 years ago. Dude just says basically Nevin versus Great Lakes open course. See, that's the problem though, because Nevin is a little too wooded, and Great Lakes is actually like creative with elevation changes. So if we're throwing up the Great Lakes Open course, I actually lean towards the toboggan course because you do have a mixture of open shots and wooded shots, and you have that elevation change. You have that shot shape element with big shots. I'm thinking more of like straight up golf course style wide open, which I think can get a little boring and repetitive. But if you're going for the D-glow, that takes my vote. Michael says the more technical, the better. Doc says, gotta say with the knee wide open, ball golf courses are nice and easy to walk. Steven, lost my soul. Oh no, that's such a bummer. Doc says, did Al Gore take it? Man, it's tough to lose a soul, man. I feel for you. Todd says, dude, I don't like thick woods, don't like wide open, I like park style. Eric, playing Iverness in Alabama, Robbie C's home course was fun. Did that last year. Thinking Massachusetts is the next disc golf vacation destination. Yeah, you've gotta hit Maple Hill. Gotta hit Maple Hill. Seems I think someone picked up and just took it. Not guaranteed. Check my bag pockets now just in case. Yeah, that's really brutal. I hope that somebody like found it and is trying to like text you about it. It's just a bummer to lose a disc, and to know that somebody just like took it and kept it is so frustrating. Michael says Florida has some great courses. Definitely some great Florida courses. Definitely. Played quite a few around the state, and there were some high quality courses. Todd says that's a problem. Doc, need a huge park to make a great disc golf course. Yeah. SCG says, I've heard discs fly differently in different elevation. How different would my throws be when I play in Michigan? In my opinion, not very different, because I don't think Michigan has much elevation. I don't know what Texas elevation is, but I did not notice a substantial difference between Florida and Michigan. And Florida is like 90 feet of elevation. So I would say you're going to need multiple thousands of feet to notice a real difference. Colorado, you'd notice a real difference. I think Michigan, you're pretty much going to be fine. I can't guarantee that, of course, but for me, I didn't find a noticeable difference. Not really. Eric says, love Florida course, but miss playing in Colorado. Idlewild is basically just a giant park. Camden Carpenter says hi. Thanks for hopping on and joining. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, Colorado is epic. I have not been, but yeah, Colorado, beautiful. Yeah, it's really annoying when people don't return discs to the owner. It's pretty selfish, because just to find a disc, it has low value to you, but has high value to the person who lost it. So it's not like, you drop a $20 bill and somebody picks it up and it's like, oh, you stole $20 from me. It's more like somebody drops, $50 and someone picks up a $5 bill, and it's like, it was worth so much more to me than it is to you. I don't think that made any sense. Doc says, yeah, SCG, but I'm like, well, I hope they enjoy it. Yeah, but yeah, I'm with SCG. I want my disc back. And I want to give someone their disc back if it's a disc that they use and they need and they throw well. I don't want to take a disc that somebody else relies on and throw it just okay. Michael tries to play everywhere he travels. Heck yeah. Utah is amazing, I bet. I did see that Scott Stokely got one of his discs back after 25 years. Oh, the train of thought, if you wanted the disc back, you would have kept looking. Yeah, that's definitely victim blaming to a large extent. I've lost a disc that I've looked for like 45 minutes. I've also thrown a disc into water in Florida where it's like, what a stupid argument if someone were to tell me, well, if you really wanted it, you'd go swimming. No, I'm not going to die for my disc. Or of course, if it goes over a fence into someone's property and going onto their property risks your local course being shut down, you can't do that. I've also lost a disc on a course, and as soon as I realized, gone back for it, and it's already gone. So I've had that happen. My Terra got stuck up in a tree, had my name and number on it, and was visible for 7 months, and then a hurricane comes through and drops it. Somebody picks it up and keeps it. So it's like, you know, there are a lot of different circumstances that you can lose a disc. Maybe you lose it in a tournament, and you legally can't keep looking after 3 minutes. You have to let your disc go. And then by the time you have a chance to get back, somebody's got it already. So there's too many circumstances where you lose a disc and you're like, you have a prior commitment. You can't just stay at a course for 2 hours. If you have to, go home to your family or meet someone for, returning a lost disc or get food, like it's just ridiculous to blame someone who loses a disc and actually say, well, if you really wanted to find it, you would have found it. It's like, no, that's ridiculous. Maybe it's dark. I mean, there's so many circumstances where you just can't find a disc right then and there. And by the time you're reasonably able to go back and get it, it's gone. I lost a Brave in a glorified puddle, but I had to get my buddy to the Jacksonville airport. And by the time I was headed back, it was after dark. The course was closed. Once I was able to get back to the course, it was gone. What about when they get back in contact and then ghost you? That's so frustrating. That's so frustrating. That's so frustrating. Dude just says it's equally annoying when you find a disc and there is a number on it. Yeah, you're like, hey, I found it. Oh man, gotta give this back. Always a little disappointed when you see it's marked, so you didn't just get a new disc. Yeah, I've had a few people actually have a miniature stack right here. These are like name and number discs that I reached out to the person repeatedly and they never got back to me. And so I'm like hesitant to like use these discs or try to, give them away or something like that because technically somebody else could still be like, hey, I want my disc. But for some of these, it's been like a year and a half. No response from the guy. I'm like, well, all right, I guess it's mine. I don't really want it, but it's mine. Yeah, if they really wanted, they would schedule a pickup. That's true. If you really want your disc back, you can make it fit a schedule eventually. SCG wanted back 50 feet up in a tree, and then you go back and it's gone. If they ghost me, I would text every day, says Dujit. Heck yeah. That's the way it's done. Eric found a disc in 2005 in Colorado. So Colorado, you found disc golf in 2005 in Colorado. So Colorado's a special place. Why is Sport Trash Panda aside from them being recycled? That's really cool. Isn't there another disc golf company in Colorado? Dujit played Colorado is an incredibly mid-course with incredible views. Hey, if it's just a mid-course, just throw mid-ranges. Infinite Warehouse in Utah? Interesting. Todd, not a Brave. I want one so bad. Yeah, and it was my Brave too. It was my 300-foot Ace Brave. It was my clutch, a touch more stable than the Braves I have now. It was my disc, and I lost it. And I got 3 Braves to make sure I could replace that Brave, and all 3 of them are a little flippier than I want them to be. They're still amazing, but they're just not my Brave. Brutal. I even bought the replacement Braves from the same, from Soar Disc Golf, from Tyler, to try to replicate where I got my first Brave. Not the same. So whoever ended up with my Brave, which had my name and number on it, like got a disc that's great and everything. But for me, I had that disc dialed. I had it understood. I knew my Brave. And I had a lot. It was worth more to me than it was from them. I would trade them, all three of my new Braves, for that Brave to get that back. SCG, buddy found a disc that was a camo pattern, MVP Tesla. He played the round with it, lost it 45 minutes later. That's what I really try not to do. I really try not to throw a disc I find. And I've returned a disc, and they'll be like, hey, did you throw it? And I'm like, no, man, I didn't want to lose your disc. Why would you make a camo disc? Yeah. It's a great, like, thought process. It's like, oh, let's make a camo disc. And then you throw it, and you're like, oh, we made a camouflage disc. What are we doing? Get this, the retriever, yeah. Steven says, how much does yours weigh? Looking at new ones on Amazon between ESP and Z. For what disc? Oh, and I had chat jump. Here we go. Camo disc. All right. Brad, can you get them? Can you drop them off at the police station? Then after a year, you get them back like money? Well, it was in Florida, so that wouldn't help. But I mean, the best way, of course, would be like a local club, if you can do that. One of them I found out of town, but I texted the guy and got a response, and he said he'd meet me at a tournament at the end of the year. So I was like, great. So then, leading up to the tournament, I texted him. Then at the tournament, during the weekend, I texted him, nothing, nothing. And then a week later, I texted him. And I'm like, all right, I guess that's a no. You don't want your disc back. Found a really good disc. Called the person that said I could keep it. All right, that's a good feeling. Michael says Idaho is a great state to play. My buddy has it and doesn't know it. Or someone picked up and kept it, yeah. Yeah, that's really sad to lose that soul, man. I hope your buddy has it, but that sucks. Got a retriever. Wrong type, I can't be not grateful for it, yeah. Retrievers are tough because it's great to have one, but they can also just suck. All right, so how much does yours weigh? You're talking about the soul. Looking at new ones. All right, I love the Z. I think mine is 173, but I'm not sure. Not sure. No way does it say after all this time. So I would say I think a 173 soul. I don't think it's lightweight. But I do like the Z plastic personally. It's a little touch flippier, and for me, that's money. But the ESP, a little more stable, could be the way. Could be the way. All right. I am past my 3-hour mark, so I'm going to wrap up the stream quick here. Michael said hi. All right. Don't write anything in the disc. If I lose it, I probably don't want it back. But I played since 2005 and lost less than 10 discs. I've lost more than 10 discs. And I've played since 2021, 2022-ish. Yeah, I've lost a lot. Todd, I feel free throwing a lost disc. It's already lost. Can't get any loster. But you just found it. You're going to lose it again? Marley says, okay, I'm done with tuning. All right, welcome back. I'm here for like 5 minutes. Theta Dolphin, what was your favorite course in Michigan? Great question. So that's a really good question. I enjoyed Hammond Hills, which was a very casual, it was a park type of, well, I don't know. They had like a bunch of layouts, but it was a really easy shorts course. And then the longs were challenging. I had a really good time at that. It's a pretty highly rated course. Renegades Trail was good, but I've already played it. The Jungle in Saginaw was pretty good. What else did I play? What else did I play? I played one more. Oh, Earl Brewer was a good course. The shorts were very easy and the longs were extremely difficult. But I kind of like the contrast of, are you a new player? Here you go. Are you an established player? Good luck. So Earl Brewer Park in Grand Rapids. That one was a very, very, very solid course. And I think they one round of Am Worlds was played there last year. So it's a next level course, especially when they put OB in. Okay. Name of the YouTube channel and name a number. Heck yeah. Use a heart for your eyes. They think it's a girl's and will be more likely to call you. What's the disc in the top middle row, second rightmost, white looking? Top middle row, second. Top middle row, second. This one. This is a Valkyrie. This is a Valkyrie. I'm guessing this is what you were talking about. So this Valkyrie is more stable than the one I lost. It's Domier. And that's another disc it hurt to lose. Somebody found it, kept it. That was a sad day because that Valkyrie was also dialed. But this is my replacement Valkyrie that I don't throw. Oh gosh. Brad is so far behind in chat. I know I'm behind. Steven, kind of your fault. Someone would pick it up and drop it off. Yeah, that's always a bummer. I know, I'm behind. Lost a signed Mindbender in a pond. Was he the one who threw it? That hurts. That hurts. Impressive that I read everything. I try. That's why I like the streams, kind of like a conversation with Brad and other people. It's nice. It's a really fun. Very talkative chat today, which is good, but can't get to everything. So true. Absolutely. Had 25 to 30 in chat at some points today. Yeah, it was nice. We really had a group. Class act. Thank you. Stamp is dope and a solid disc. Yeah, and this is like it comes like this. The Innova duotone kind of it's not dyed or stamped. It's like just how the disc is. They do a good job with a lot of those. Factory dye. Yeah, that's what it is. Don't worry about the spam, the comments that are too repetitive. Yeah, it's all good. We did a good job today with chat filtering, despite Luke and Justin both ditching us. Who knows why? They stopped in for 5 seconds. But you guys did a great job modding today. Thank you so much. Michael says you're a good role model for the youth. Peace out. Thanks. He's catching up. I'm trying. Oh yeah, Doc says when I get a few more people in chat, just read the ones that start with Brad. Yeah, it's fair. When we really get a lot of people in chat, that'll have to happen. But for now, I can still mostly keep up for the most part. I'm able to read everything and just kind of skip over the stuff that's really irrelevant or vulgar or whatever. It's no problem. But yeah, it's just a blast hanging out with you guys. Really appreciate all of you being here. This was a great stream, and thank you all of you for watching videos on the channel in every way that you support me and everything that I do. So thank you, and I will be catching you guys next time. I don't think I have any more announcements. Oh, I have a mild announcement. Todd, especially, I have not yet 100% scheduled my Birdietime gaming stream, but be on the lookout this week for a test stream because I'm going to, I really hope so, I'm going to get a test stream going. So if I can get a couple of us into the test stream, I can make some mods really quickly over there for Birdietime gaming. And I'll say, I'll be even a little bit I'll be a little less picky with modding for the gaming side of things. If anybody is in the disc golf stream, you're pretty much guaranteed mod in the gaming stream. Yeah, if anybody can hop in that test stream, so that we're able to kind of see how things work and I can get some feedback about how audio and visuals are coming through. That would be awesome. So I don't know when exactly that's going to be, but it's going to happen. All right. When you hit 10K, you should do a 24-hour stream. Oh my gosh. 24-hour stream. I could do a 24-hour gaming stream, but I could not do a 24-hour disc golf talking stream. No way. No way. Great, and all of you agreed. All right, thanks, Todd. Appreciate it. Yeah, sealed my fate. Need to be after 7:30, but before 9:30 p.m. Actually, that's probably my window. Is going to be like 7 to 9. I will drop a post, and I'll put up a post and say, "Hey, this is when I'm going to do my Birdie Time gaming stream." So I'll shout that out. Thank you, all of you, for Trevor did 24-hour Minecraft. Looked miserable. Yeah, hop on depending on where it is. Yeah. Not Monday or Tuesday. Hi, it's a chill guy. Thanks, Squirrel. I'm getting off right now, ending the stream, but thanks for hopping on. Yeah. Appreciate all of you guys. I will give that update when I have that info. Also, the no on the haircut dropped down to 57%. So I think that means that the longer I did the stream, the longer my hair started growing, and the more people said, hang on, I think the haircut is needed. Well, next time you see me, I'll probably have the haircut. So I appreciate you guys, as always. Catch you guys later. See you, Duja. See you, SEG. See you, everybody. Catch you guys soon. And now I have to, like, walk around all my stuff on the floor so that I can actually end the stream. Ugh.